is up, RotoGrinders. 2 hours, 2+ hours, nonstop MLB DFS conversation, taking you all the way up to first pitch, 7:15 on the East Coast. This is GrindersLive. I'm Dean. This is Kyle Murray. Kyle, get comfortable, man. We have an hour and change till we yield to crunch time. Crunch time coming in around 6:15-ish. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, Kristi, as well as Derek Carty. Roth, you think of weather. Most important thing weather-wise as far as tonight's slates, it's not necessarily precipitation. I did drop it in the chat for the people. Everything's yellow, green, and we look pretty clean. If something changes, Roth will be all over it. But the wind, it's very, very windy in Chicago. Wind is blowing in Chicago, so strong pitching conditions for the Milwaukee and the Cub game, which I guess has, I don't want to say playoff implications, kind of, sort of, somewhat. It's an important game, as if games can be important. If there's 162 of them, Chicago, I believe, is at 7 games behind Milwaukee. Milwaukee kind of running away with that division, but if they have any thoughts of catching up, they got to grab a game here tonight. Kyle, how are things? Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, happy Wednesday. Things are good. Good to be back here talking some baseball with you on a Wednesday. I only got a couple shows left with you before I get turned to the pasture with football season coming up. So we got to make the most of it the next few weeks.
What happens to you in football? Are you doing behind-the-scenes stuff? Are you doing videos? I know you're doing preseason stuff right now with Jamino. What are you all of a sudden? Will the people see you popping up on any pods? Or
I hope so.
We're going to get our Kyle fix.
I believe that's the plan. I think it sounds like I'm going to be on at least a couple shows a week, which I hope. I'm looking forward to. I know I did some showdown stuff consistently 2 years ago, and then kind of got reeled back as a projection stuff. But going to be trying to balance both. So hopefully a lot of projections, hopefully a lot of videos and live stream stuff. So hopefully as much as they'll have me, I'll be showing up.
I've not seen the schedule, but I imagine like every Thursday night showdown game, there's going to be a showdown show. Sunday night as well, Monday night as well. I think that's the plan. That's what it was last year, and I assume, going forward, we will have showdown content. If you want to chase your losses earlier in the day, you got to get back to even sometimes, or it just takes one bink in the showdown streets, and all of a sudden you could be made for the entire season. Should mention, by the way, you talk about football right around the corner. Fantasy Labs, it's your home for season-long fantasy football, best ball content. You get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more. You get award-winning expert Sean Corner. That's Oddsmaker there on Twitter. Chris Raybon. They also have an app that allows you to get real-time rankings, cheat sheets, lineup advice on the go. Got a nice promo code for you as well, $15 off, RG15. RG15 is your promo code for all your football stuff over there at Fantasy Labs. They're under the umbrella here. All right, 8-gamer tonight for baseball. It's the Dodgers are still in course. we have Ohtani pitching, which makes for, and again, I don't want to get on my soapbox about this one, but I still can't believe we're on year 7. I don't know, what year are we on, where we haven't quite figured out how do we make Ohtani available both as a pitcher and a hitter. I guess it's I'm not a tech guy. Maybe it's too much tech work. I don't know. But so Ohtani not available as a hitter on DK, not available as a pitcher on FanDuel. And Ohtani actually, I think, is we'll talk about it. One of the better pitchers on the slate. He can strike people out. Probably goes 5 innings. Probably. I think he can go 5 innings. You line everybody up in the slate tonight as far as pitchers. The only strikeout guys we really have are Ohtani and Mizrachi. The Miz at almost 36%. He was just terrible last time out. And there's also issues as far as his pitch count, so it's hard to trust him. Of course, if he can throw strikes, he should be at least pretty good in the few innings they allow him to throw. Maybe 75, 80 pitches, give or take. Maybe I'm being optimistic. I don't think he got out of the second inning last time out. And then beyond that, it gets really, really murky. Offensively, of course, the Dodgers, they're on their own. We'll do the tiers later on. And I yield to Kyle. And Kyle makes the tiers, but I assume I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're an adult. You can make your own choices. But I imagine the Dodgers will land in tier 1, unless you put some kind of qualifier on it. Like, we're going to have slate context and ownership and all that. But, and then we're going to talk about some pitchers that are uncomfortable. They're pretty gross. I'm curious if you have any, strong takes with pitchers, because you tend to throw out random dudes. It's just like, this is the slate to find those random dudes. I don't know if you have any for me. I'm willing to listen. I want to hear your pitch. because man, the names that I'm looking at, the names I'm considering for my pitchers, it's uncomfortable, man. It's not good. And on DK, you got a roster too. So yeah, how are you seeing tonight's slate as far as the old overview?
Yeah, I mean, it's Wednesday tradition. We have Ohtani pitching on the slate. Like I feel like every time I've been on the show, which is usually Wednesdays, he's always pitching, and then we usually don't have a lot of good pitching slates today on Wednesdays. And we had some decent pitchers on the early games. A couple of them got roughed up, but yeah, I mean, we have some good talent. We have Ohtani and Mizorowski, but like, both pretty limited pitch count wise, and what we're expecting them to do pretty much volume wise, which is always important. So that's been a big kind of thorn in their side. Ohtani continues to get stretched out. It seems like Miz is sort of continuously getting pulled back. So that's an interesting dynamic there. But I think the fact that you don't really have anybody else above those two keeps those two so significantly in play, because you're basically looking at a slate full of guys who aren't expected to go super deep into the game or have a ton of strikeout production. So it kind of makes these two at the top of the board, right, in terms of being guys who are going to be able to rack up strikeouts in a very small amount of time. So I think that definitely helps sets those guys apart. In terms of the matchup for Ohtani, obviously it's a good one. He leads the slate in strikeout prop 6.5 at plus money. No other pitcher is at 5.5 at minus money. So you have a few other guys at 5.5 but plus money. So Ohtani's clearly the strikeout darling on the board here, but you do have a couple other guys here. So I think it kind of comes into play where if you want to dip your toes down into the cheaper range, you can definitely do so. I mean, you can get really ugly, and you can say, if this guy just gets me 10 points, that's totally fine, because again, you're arguably trying to do that in order to build around the Dodgers stack. It's going to be expensive, and Coors projects really well, all good things. But so there's definitely going to be some names that I'm going to be throwing out there that are some ugly ones that, again, you can definitely get away with. Hey, just cross your fingers, hope for 10 points, because you can argue that nobody on the slate touches 15. I think you can. If you told me that, I wouldn't be all that surprised. I mean, I would be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, what a crazy slate. Like it's that sort of dynamic. So you can do a lot of different things at the pitcher spot. Obviously, you need that to come to fruition when you're talking about backloading your bats. You need a lot of hitting production. But Steve Jones said Ohtani threw 150 pitches last time out. Steve Jones, that did not happen, but thank you.
I think he's rounding up a little bit. I don't think it was 150. Pretty sure.
Just a little. But we appreciate the comment. Go ahead and throw a like for Steve Jones. But yeah, I think it's an interesting pitching slate for sure. And I think the fact that you do have the top guys kind of limited from a volume perspective and how long you're expecting them to go into the game, you do have plenty of options in order to spend up at hitters, spend down at pitching.
I see producer Steve dropped a note here in the YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Hit that button, the like button, that is. Do subscribe, turn on notifications. If enough of y'all hit the like button, and he actually set an official deadline too. He's given an ultimatum to the chat. 5:14 in the East Coast. If we get 50 likes, he will set up Wheel Wednesday. We'll get into that. And most people know anyway. But if we get the 50 likes, we'll get into it. But basically, you have a chance to win yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. And not just baseball. It's all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, hockey, NBA, NHL, PGA, WNBA. I'm sure I missed something along there. Everything but NASCAR. NASCAR is a la carte. And all the bells, all the whistles, get everything as far as the the optimizer, SimLabs, projections, all the goods. No Stanton today in the lineup today for the Yankees, who I think hit 9 homers yesterday. I think it was 9 by my unofficial count. No Stanton, no Goldie. Obviously, I assume that's because we're having an issue with him. They don't want to throw him out there in the outfield, and Judge still not in the outfield. Caballero had 2 homers last night. Very vengeful. Is there a more vengeful player in all of baseball? I mean, he might have like 4 all season going into that game against his former team in Tampa. Yeah, so no Goldie and no Stanton for the Yankees. Wells and Rice are both in there. Does that mean Rice? Does he play first? He plays first, right? They'll throw Rice at first base?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because DH is going to be Aaron Judge. I was trying to figure that out. But yeah, Rice does play. I think mostly he catches, but He's kind of taken over that job there, but they wanted to give him a breather, I suppose, behind the plate. All right. Again, you got a minute or so to get those likes up there to 50. We'll spin that wheel later on the show and give away some premium. There are some, there are some ugly names pitching wise. And by the way, I was looking at projections. I'm going to give it a refresh because we just got some new lineup stuff coming in. But you're talking about on DK. You wouldn't be surprised if one player gets more than 15 DK points. And then you're talking about, well, you're just hoping somebody gets 10. Like, I would take 10 from so many of these guys, I think. Like 10?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to give me 10 out of, like, Bailey Ober or JP Sears or JT Ginn? Okay. I think I might take 10. Like, it's not going to ruin me. It's not going to make me. As far as our projections, we have nobody projected for more than 16 points as a median projection. Ohtani, Mizrachi, Kikuchi, and the rookie Waldrop, all 15 and change. So, but that's median projections, and certainly I could see none of those guys getting over 15. And then there's like Rasmussen, who's good, but like his leash isn't very long. It's a tough ballpark there against the Yankees. JP Sears, he's an interesting one because he's San Fran's not particularly good. Cameron's kind of pricey, but I don't mind him. I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. I feel like I'm spending a little bit too much I don't really know what the upside is for Cameron, but they can sort of go through these guys. I know David in his article today was talking about you don't necessarily need to spend up on anybody when it comes up to pitchers. And I sort of agree with that. Although I think I'm going to try to play Ohtani that on DK. Obviously, you can't play him on FanDuel as a pitcher. Certainly like him as a hitter. We'll talk about that soon enough. But if you get 5 innings against Colorado and his strikeout ability, the walks have been really, really, solid this year, meaning like he's not giving up a lot. He's at the third lowest walk rate in the slate, 5.2%. The K is at 33.3%. He's not going to throw 150 pitches, but I think he can throw enough and be efficient enough and strike out enough and get the win. We'll take those win points. This is one of those days where those win points might be meaningful. Give me 4 points on DK because not a lot of separators in the field. You talk about how he's the biggest K prop as well. So I think ideally, obviously we live in the world with salary cap, but ideally I want Ohtani on my main lineup pitching on DraftKings. Is that something you're going to try and make happen, or are you okay just settling on 2 of these nonsense guys? Where would you rank, all things considered, like your top pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally I want at least one of Ohtani or Mizrachi. But like if I build a lineup and they happen to not be in there, I think you can still do fine with those. But I think the thing about Ohtani is he's not really a spend up. He's 7.5, so it's like he's a guy who people are classifying as an elite talent. But I think the price is still pretty good on him. Like I don't think it's anything where it's too cheap or too expensive. I mean, again, he's still a guy who, if you get 80 pitches out of him, you probably feel really good. Especially in this matchup. Coors Field obviously brings in some certain other factors, but yeah, he's probably certainly a guy I'm still trying to build around. And then after that, the Miz, like I mentioned, again, when you're looking at guys who are just extremely limited across the board, like on the slate, I still think he's fine. I'm still really worried about them working him deep. Obviously, they're trying to keep his pitch count limited throughout the regular season and then hopefully expand it in the postseason. But again, if he throws 4 2/3, 5 innings, and he racks up 6, 7, 8 strikeouts, he could essentially do the same thing as Ohtani. He's also about $2,000 more than Ohtani, so that's why I give the edge to Ohtani there. But Mizrachi is also going to be a fraction of the ownership, so probably building around one of those 2 guys. And then after that, I think Kikuchi and Waldrop are like the next safe tier. I mean, Waldrop, he's looked really good. Obviously, only had a few starts. Matchup's pretty good against the White Sox, who's been a pretty hot team after the All-Star break. But still, when you look at the matchup there, plenty of strikeouts in this lineup for him to take advantage of. So I think those 2 are kind of in that next tier. And then after that, you're talking about getting cute, right? Rasmussen, I mean, you look at the Yankees, I think through their first like 7 or 8 hitters last night, I think they had 4 home runs, and the rest of the at-bats resulted in strikeouts. So it's like that's just a perfect depiction of who they are. Like they have so much power, but they also have a lot of strikeouts. They have a lot of guys who swing freely Rasmussen can certainly generate whiffs, does more so against lefties. Looks like there's going to be, I think, 4 or 5 lefties in the lineup, so you could maybe have a better lineup for him. But still, I think it's a risk-reward matchup there for Rasmussen. And then after that, it gets sort of really cute. My favorite in this tier is Bailey Ober, matchup against the A's. Obviously, when you're talking about this A's team, they have a ton of power, but they typically benefit from being in that home ballpark in Sacramento. Obviously, they're in Minnesota with the wind blowing slightly in here. I don't think it's going to be a contrarian play. I think people will still be on Bailey Ober, but I do think he's an interesting play. He also has a 5.5 strikeout prop. And then, crack my knuckles, and we're going to get real weird here. We're going to talk about Nick Martinez. Yeah, trust me. I did not want to come onto the show recommending Nick Martinez. I wish there was better options for me, but he's under 7K, so that's a good thing. And then the matchup, you look at the matchup here against this Angels projected lineup. Every hitter in this lineup, except for Shanwell, has a 25% strikeout rate or higher this season against right-handed pitching. Martinez isn't necessarily the guy to take advantage of that, but I do think that he's also gotten fairly unlucky in his strikeout rate. He has a 26% swinging strike rate, CSW rate, only a 17% strikeout rate. So I think while he's not a high strikeout guy, I think he can potentially benefit a bit more in this matchup here against the Angels. So he's probably the ugliest name that I'm really trying to get behind here. And then again, JP Sears, I'm seeing a lot of ownership on JP Sears. No, thank you. If he's going to be the popular option today, like the popular punt option, I think stacking against him is absolutely the way to go. Now, if he were going to be unpopular, there's a lot of strikeouts in this lineup. The Giants strike out quite a bit against lefties, but that's just going to strictly come down to ownership for me for JP Sears.
So the counter argument to your Sears point, and I do agree, I don't like him as chalk, and he appears to be probably one of the cheap ESP2s that's going to get some ownership. He's been banged around a lot this year. Strike thrower. 6% walk, so he's not gonna get in trouble as far as walks. But if you look at his ISO versus lefties versus righties, doesn't matter. It's in the strong red. Same deal with Woba. But you were just talking about that ballpark there in Sacramento, the Athletics playing. He's not there anymore. He's in San Diego now. It's not like he's in San Fran. This game's not in San Fran, but significantly as far as an upgrade, pitching, and some of those homers probably would have died, on the warning track in San Diego. As far as homers per 9 this season, he's given up 1.86. So probably a little bit unlucky, right, as far as the home runs. But, I kind of get it. And then in San Fran, you look at that lineup. No Matt Chapman. There is some power bats, I suppose, in that San Fran lineup. Ramos, Devers, but it's left on left versus Devers, who's not as strong versus lefties. Adames has some power, but it falls off pretty quickly. I just don't like the fact he's going to be popular. I think that's the main deterrent. But that's what I'm seeing at least. We're looking at 30% on DK, the second most popular pitcher right there with Kikuchi. Kikuchi will give you a length, right? Like he's one guy that can actually throw 100 pitches, which might have some value on this slate. You mentioned Ober. Oh, man. I don't really like him either. But, again, it's easy to say what you don't like. It's much harder to say what you do like. And, like you mentioned, you weren't given the greatest picks in the world. Like you weren't excited about it. But Martinez on this slate of a lot of second lowest strikeout rate on the slate. Now you kind of gave the pitches the Y. A little bit unlucky. Good matchup. We saw Hunter Green take advantage of it last night. What did he have? 11, maybe 12 last night. But that's Hunter Green. He throws. He's got a ridiculous arsenal. He's got his fastball is absurd. But maybe Martinez is going to take advantage of it. And then maybe, by the way, I see in chat, shout out to Vanilla Thunder, first-time listener. Vanilla Thunder says, y'all need to come. Hold on, it just went away. I have to scroll back up and see what he said. You need to come with that smoke tonight. Kyle, I wasn't thinking about bringing the smoke, but now that Vanilla Thunder brings it up, I'm going to bring the smoke. Are you bringing the smoke?
Of course. I always bring the smoke.
Oh, you just do it automatically. Yeah. I need to be, poked.
It doesn't turn off for me.
I have an on-off switch, and I'm going to turn the smoke on. We're going to turn the smoke on. I don't really believe in Waldrop. It's been good for him. He's at 3 starts, whatever it is. I'm not totally buying it. Looks like he's been a little bit lucky. The homer to fly ball is 0%. Left on base 85%. You can pick apart 17 innings. The White Sox have been pretty good, in this series against Atlanta, but they're still the White Sox. You mentioned him, and I'm not. Again, I think he's in the pool. His K rate in the majors, I believe, is higher than it was in the minors. 25% in the majors. I think it's like 23, 24, which that's probably not going to continue going forward. Probably not. But again, the slate is the slate, and there's a lot of names that are pretty murky. I also wanted to make sure we touch on FanDuel because we kind of talked about Ohtani at 7.5 on DK looking pretty good. He's not available as a pitcher on FanDuel. You only got to roster one. You know who your favorite pitcher on FanDuel would be if you take Ohtani out of that pool?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Kikuchi. I think he again on FanDuel you kind of have to be a little bit safer pitching wise, just because the opportunity cost of having one that doesn't hit, like there's just you're in order to win a tournament you have to have a pitcher that hits. So Kikuchi is probably the reason, the safest pitcher on the board there, and that's the reason why I like him the most on FanDuel. But I mean, from an ownership perspective as well, like, I know we kind of talked about Sears quite a bit here, but right now we have him projected as the chalk on FanDuel at 21%. Like, if he's a chalk, I'm just not playing him, especially on a site where you have to play just one pitcher. Like, especially if you're going down in contest size, like let's say you're playing a contest with sub 200 people and Sears is like 35, 40%, like you just play anybody else. And if he busts, half the lineups are dead. So, yeah, I mean, Sears, like you alluded to the ballpark upgrade, but as a counterpoint to your counterpoint, JP Sears sucked when they were at the Coliseum too, and that was like the most pitcher-friendly ballpark. So, I mean, I don't think JP Sears is like the worst pitcher in the world, and it is a good strikeout matchup, and it is just a pretty good matchup in general. But regardless, if he's going to be this popular, I think just from a game theory perspective, I cannot get behind playing him, especially on FanDuel. I know he's a little bit cheaper, but if you want cheaper, I'll take Bailey over JP Sears. I mean, again, like I don't think he necessarily outscore. Like if we ran the Sims 1,000 times, I don't think he outscores him more often. But from a leverage perspective, I certainly think that there's more leverage there with Bailey over. So yeah, on FanDuel it's Kikuchi for me at 9.6. Just pay up a little bit more and then find some value bats.
I don't have a counter to your counter to the counter, so I think you win. I'm just going to yield. I'm going to surrender.
Yes,
I brought the smoke. I mean, look, it's the slate. Like, so, like, sure, I guess you can, but it's not like it doesn't feel great when JP Sears is expected to be popular. I don't love that so much. I'm giving it a refresh here because we just got a new batch of stuff here on Lineup HQ. So my ownership stuff went away. Let's see if anything's changed for me on DK. Yeah, looks like we got a new batch like 5-10 minutes ago or so. 40% Ohtani, 30% Sears, 28% Kikuchi. Over 21, Rasmussen 20, Waldrop 17, The Miz at 16. We're projecting 78 pitches. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he throws 70. I guess he can throw 85, but I guess that's about right. We've seen him pulled very early at sometimes. I mentioned before his game is, if it's meaningful, it's probably more meaningful to the Cubs, we're being honest, because Milwaukee has a 7-game lead on him. Did we mention Noah Cameron? He just seems a little bit too expensive for, what is his potential ceiling? And then I mentioned at the top, the other thing is Milwaukee and Chicago. Let's see what Weather Edge has to say about that, because I know Roth in his write-up, he says winds blowing in from left at 20 miles per hour, big boost to pitchers. Going to be tough to leave the yard in those conditions, especially for righty power, especially. Let's see if anything's changed significantly for Weather Edge. Before the show, I was looking at it, and it was looking pretty positive for pitchers. 71 previous games, 70 the temp, the wind blowing in there from left center. In 71 previous games of similar weather, 27% hit in home runs, a 17% decrease in runs. Also, a revenge game for Colin Ray. I don't know if he's as vengeful as Jose Caballero, but I mean, I'm not excited about rostering Colin Ray, but he probably could eke his way. Like, what is it? It's a 7 total, right?
It's actually dropping. We're down to 6.5 now.
It's down to 6.5. Wow.
At least on FanDuel and DraftKings.
Our lineup page still has him at 7, but depending on where you're shopping, if you're saying if you get 7, you might have to lay juice on under 7. That seems tough.
Yeah.
So why not just play? I mean, Mizorowski I think would be great, but I just don't know how long he's going to pitch for. Still no Kyle Tucker for the Cubs. He's dealing with, I guess, the finger and just kind of mental health days. They're giving him a couple days off. He's not in that Chicago lineup. And then can Colin Ray just sort of like be okay for 5 or 6 innings with the help of that wind?
Yeah, but I mean, you look at it. You look at the strikeout props. He's pretty heavily favored to the over on 3.5 strikeouts. But it's just tough to project a ton of strikeout upside for him.
Yeah.
The safety probably feels fine. Again, they're not expecting a ton of scoring production in that game. So if you want to make the case that, hey, Colin Ray is safer than Nick Martinez, I can't really defend that argument. But from an upside perspective, I do think Martinez probably has more strikeout upside. But hey, if you're looking for just safety down here in the sub 7K range, which isn't the worst thing in the world because you're probably not going to find a ton of upside anyway. I think Colin Ray is fine, but probably not like the guy who's gonna, if he gives up any runs, he's probably not going to catch up with strikeouts. So you have to tread carefully there. But certainly I don't think he'll hurt you. He's pitching against a team with the second lowest implied total at sub 7K. So if he somehow racks up 3 or 4 strikeouts, wouldn't be too bad.
Extreme hitters umpire in Coors tonight, by the way, just kind of throwing that out there. I was looking at the umpire stuff. The only extreme we have is an extreme hitters umpire in Coors. To your point, by the way, if you give up a couple of runs, like, are any of these guys able to recover? I don't know if it, typically like Skubal can go out there and give up 2 or 3 runs and he can still rack up 10 Ks and be fine. If any of these guys, scuffle, they're probably not going to stick around long enough. They're probably not going to strike out enough people to give you anything beyond like a 12 or a 13 at best. Man, it's all sorts of ugly. It's just bad. I don't know, man. I think I'm playing Ohtani is just like my thought process here. We did get the Angels, by the way. Looks like Ohapi's not in the lineup, or no Sean Well, which could be. You were talking about Martinez, and that's like their one contact guy. He didn't make the lineup. So it's Neto, Rengifo, Trout, Ward, Moncada, Adele, Darno, Cavadas, and Teodosio. So I guess that's a boost to Martinez, right? With no Sean Well, because he's their contact guy. If you're going to play the Angels, I think are interesting to play to attack and the roster as like a general thought, because they have power. And certainly I think an Angel stack is worthwhile against Nick Martinez, but they also strike out a fair bit against righties. I just don't know if Martinez is that guy that can do it, but it's a slight boost, the slightest of boosts to your Nick Martinez sales pitch, I guess.
Yeah, it went from Shanwell to Rengifo, so it was like 12% to like 18%. Okay. Christian Moore not being in the lineup is not ideal because he's a 26% strikeout guy, but who knows? This Cavadas guy could also be that level of strikeout. He just has 1 plate appearance on the season, so we don't really know. But yeah, so the matchup is still there. Like the thing is, if Martinez goes out and gives up 3 runs, I could see him coming back and striking out 5 or 6 guys, at least earning some of those points back. If Ray goes out there and gives up 3 runs, he's not striking out 6 guys. There's no shot. So that's the one spot. And like Martinez isn't a high strikeout guy, but the matchup kind of induces some strikeouts there. Ohtani will make up some ground if he ends up giving up some runs. Again, he's only 7.5. I think the more I talk about it, it just seems like Ohtani is just like just lock him in at 7.5. So ugly.
So let me tell you about Cavadas. I just pulled up his stuff in the minors and the projections and all that. This season in the minor leagues, as like a 25, 26-year-old, striking out 33.9% of the time.
That'll help.
The bat has it projected to strike out 36.2% in the majors. Zips has him projected striking out at 39.5% in the majors. So just saying. Yeah. I'd be much more excited if that was Hunter Green. They probably wouldn't pitch him in back-to-back nights. That's not ideal. But, it's a boost. It's a boost to the strikeouts to having Cavadas in that lineup.
Yeah.
By the way, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. Someone mentioned that Martinez gives up power to the right side. The thing is, like sometimes like home run numbers will appear that way, but when you look at his underlying numbers, he's actually a better. Like if I was rostering him, I want him From a power prevention perspective, I want him to face more righties. He strikes out a lot less righties, which is a bummer. But 43% ground ball rate to righties compared to 34% against lefties, 21% line drive rate, 29% against lefties. But then the big number, 38% hard contact against righties, which is actually a really good number. And then 49% hard contact against lefties. He also is about a 2.5% barrel rate lower against righties and lefties. So actually the underlying numbers, he has a less power to righties. He just strikes them out and misses less bats from a strikeout perspective. But the CSW is at 26% against righties, 25.5% against lefties. So again, like that's sort of why I'm thinking that there's probably some room for regression to the mean on strikeout rate against righties. Like I don't think that these numbers suggest he should be a 13.5% strikeout rate against lefty or against righties, especially when he was at 20% last year. And then you factor in the idea that you have pretty much a whole lineup full of guys who strike out a ton. And I don't want to talk about Nick Martinez too much because it's going to sound like I'm trying to say Nick Martinez is a smash play. But that's kind of the pitch there for Martinez.
So the Dodgers lineup just came out. There's no Mookie Betts. Ohtani, Will Smith, Freeman, Teoscar, Pages, Conforto, Freeland, Rojas, Kennedy. I think Conforto feels pretty safe because there's only one lefty in that Colorado bullpen. Freeland, Rojas, Kennedy, possibly pinch hit depending on the scenario if it matters. If it's 4-4 in the ninth or something like that or whatever it is, they need a better hitter off the bench. I would imagine Betts is available. It's not an injury thing, just kind of a rest thing. And it's weird. I'm kind of looking at this and on DK, right? You can't roster Ohtani, and we'll talk about stacks in a second. You can't roster Ohtani. There's no Betts. You don't really want to roster Kennedy. You don't really want to roster Rojas or Freeland. The Dodgers stack, it just becomes like 4 or 5 guys. It's just, you're kind of like boxed in some ways to Smith, Freeman, Teoscar, Pages, and Conforto. I don't know. We'll discuss. We'll talk about that soon enough, but just wanted to pass along that there is no Betts in that lineup. Did want to mention, by the way, you guys did a good job hitting the like button, so producer Steve is rewarding you if you're not seeing it in the scroll. We are spinning the wheel. We'll go ahead and pull it after we do stacks. We will give away a week free of RG Premium, maybe 2, depending on how many likes we get to. Is there a like threshold we have to hit to give away 2 individual weeks? Let us know there in the chat, producer Steve. But how do you partake? How do you get your name on the wheel? You go to the Discord channel. That's RotoGrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel. Steve has a post in there. Steve, HOF. It's in purple. Just click the avatar of the wheel, and you will be eligible. They'll get you a chance to win a week free of RG Premium. I'm watching it in real time, seeing the numbers going up. So people are, some people did not realize it. But yeah, jump in the Discord channel. Get yourself a chance to win a week free in Premium. 150 likes gets us 2 chances, 2 individual weeks. So hit that like button, and we'll do it around 6:05 whenever we finish the tiers, which we'll talk about shortly. They're asking in chat for the cash game pitchers, and this is what I'm glad when I'm the host and I don't have to answer this question. It's easier, I think, on DK. At least I think Ohtani's your cash game pitcher to start with, and then I don't know. Yeah, you tell me. What are today's cash game pitchers?
Yeah, so plugging into the optimizer in LineBase, we have Ohtani and Sears.
You don't like that?
I mean, for cash, the leverage part doesn't matter, so it's fine. Because again, like the big reason why I don't like Sears is because I think that if he does, drop an egg, you just lap 35-40% of the field, just from him being bad. But in cash, it doesn't really matter. So you have to beat half the field, and oftentimes you actually kind of want to play along with the ownership. I still think that the 2 safest options are Ohtani and Kikuchi, and I think you can still build around both of those guys. So I think you either play with the field and play Sears and Ohtani, or you try to get a little bit different and you play Ohtani and Kikuchi, who project as the 2 safest options for me tonight, point per dollar perspective.
All right. Anything else you want to say as far as pitchers before we jump to tiers?
No, I think we've talked enough about Nick Martinez and Bailey Ober and all the other the shitters on this plate. So yeah.
Did we mention Schlittler? Is that, or I couldn't hear which?
No, that I didn't even say his name, but yeah, we could talk
He's
about
throwing
him.
Baseballs too.
I mentioned something close to his name, but not quite.
Yeah, that's what I thought that was what you were doing there, but Yeah, I was like, oh wait, maybe we should talk about him. You can play him for the record if you want to play Schlittler. Have a good time, enjoy yourself. I wouldn't besmirch. Weird Tampa lineup, just weird. The Tampa's lineup these days is just pretty rough. Caminero, Lau, Diaz, the back end really falls off pretty quickly. Okay, so today's tiers. I did not hit you up with this one, Kyle, because I did this yesterday. I wasn't able to do it. I had it ready to go for SJ's show. Wasn't able to make the show yesterday, so I just used yesterday's tiers. It was Edward Norton's birthday this week. Might have been on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't recall. I'm not sure you're aware of Edward Norton's work. I power ranked. I power ranked my Edward Norton movies, and I got to tell you, and maybe we could put a poll for this. Like he's got like 4, like top tier, like tier A movies, and I had a hard time, and I left some movies out because you just have to. And we'll talk about it in a second. Let me know in chat your favorite Edward Norton movie. But do you have one that comes to mind as far as a favorite? Not a lot of bad movies too, which is kind of tricky, but one that really stands out for me. We'll get to in a second. But do you have a favorite Edward Norton movie?
I think the first I saw of him, it was in The Complete Unknown that I saw this year. Well, that's not the first I saw of him, but that was the first thing I recognized and like registered, because then I like a week later I saw The Incredible Hulk and I was like, that guy looks really familiar. But I mean, that's like a 20-year gap. Complete Unknown is probably the one that sticks out to me the most. The Hulk, that was the really bad Hulk movie. I believe
you don't think that was a good one? I'm not that wasn't the Ang Lee one. It was somebody else, right? I don't think it was Ang. Yeah, but that was a bad Hulk movie. I don't recall.
I think that was like, because I went through a watch all the Marvel movie phase about a year or two ago, and that Hulk movie was absolutely trash. So yeah, that one I'm hoping to see that one in the 5 tier here.
It did not make the 5 tier. In chat, we have let's see, Primal Fear, American History X, The Score, Rounders. I thought for sure like you would know Norton from Rounders. I just feel like you don't Rounders, a poker movie. You a poker guy? You don't know Rounders? Matt Damon?
I've never even seen it. Yeah, honestly, I'm just not. I always feel unprepared when I'm on shows with you because I'm not a big movie guy.
Oh, it's fine.
Like, there's so many movies I feel like I need to watch. So, and this is one I have not seen.
I'll make you a list.
I didn't know that he was in Glass Onion though.
Yeah, it was the second one. Yeah, it was the second one amongst the what was the original called? But yeah, he's the
Knives Out.
It's the kind of a sequel to Knives Out. He's not in the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, some of his best movies did not make the list, but again, you had to make some tough decisions. I think tier 1, Fight Club is a tier 1 movie. I think that American History X probably a tier 1 movie. Rounders a tier 1 movie. So I couldn't even downgrade him to tier 2. So I did pick Fight Club, but like again, if you want to say it's Rounders, fine. I'm not going to argue with you. Primal Fear was his first ever movie. I think he was like 22, 23 years old. Richard Gere. It is worth seeing, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's got a great ending. The ending really ties it all together. So if you like a courtroom drama, I maybe that's not the best way to sell it, but he was incredible. Like 22, 23, kind of came out of nowhere. That is spectacular. The Illusionist is very good. The problem with The Illusionist, that's tier 3. The problem with that is it came out the exact same time as The Prestige. And they were 2 movies based in the past, based around magic. And like The Illusionist got lost because The Prestige is just better. But The Illusionist is good. Paul Giamatti's in that. Asteroid City's not terrible, but I just don't like Wes Anderson movies. I think Wes Anderson's overrated. He's not my guy. So we had to put something in the 4 hole. And then Death to Smoochie is bad. It's a comedy, and it's Danny DeVito and Robin Williams, and it just does not work. So I did not enjoy Death to Smoochie. I would not recommend that. So that's the 5 hole for me. But that is the 5 movies. The Score is being argued in chat. Yeah, The Score was good too. That was a heist movie. I do like The Score. I want to poll. Can we poll Fight Club versus Rounders? Should we include Primal Fear? Probably not. Fight Club versus Rounders, probably 50-50. What else would you throw in there? I'm not sure. But yeah. Have you seen Fight Club?
I have not. I've heard all the stories and the lines. you don't talk about Fight Club or something like that. So
yeah,
but never seen it. Yeah.
First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. There you go. Fight Club versus Rounders. All right, let's throw some teams in some tiers. Again, 7:15 start. Weather. I'm going to just go ahead and confirm, give it a refresh. I don't think there's any issue as far as weather. Anything change here? Oh, we are yellow-orange in Atlanta, so a slight downgrade. There's some words here written by Roth. Roth will be out about a half hour or so. Let's see. A storm complex builds in from the north this evening. A delay of some sort is very possible. Okay, that seems interesting. I've added a bit of orange to the mix in case they late start while dry. That could be a mistake, but probably not one that will make. Bottom line, I think they play potentially with an in-game delay, but I have some low-level concerns beyond that. Okay, so if we see a delay, go ahead.
Do you know the old Andrew Luck Twitter? Like Sergeant Andrew Luck or whatever it was?
Yes. Yeah.
This first sentence in this, a storm complex builds in from the north this evening. Sounds like something that would be on that Twitter.
Is that Twitter account retired? Is it no longer? I feel like I haven't seen it in forever. Is it just gone?
I think it's retired. I haven't seen it in a while, but they have a Caleb Williams one now.
Okay. Is it done in the same sort of like voice or?
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same person or what, but yeah, I saw that this past weekend when he had the nice drive there. Yeah, Captain Andrew Luck.
Producer Steve on top of it. There it is. Yeah.
Oh,
what
10 hours ago.
He posted? Oh, he's still posting. Andrew Luck's back. All right. Is he still? He's got to be like, how old is Andrew Luck? 35? Is he still like? In theory, could he still play football if he wanted to?
Oh,
is he 40?
Yeah. I mean, he's
right?
he's 35. Yeah, nice call.
Okay.
I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is still playing, I mean, it's a long list of guys who could be playing still, and he's certainly one of them. But
yeah, I mean, are people still calling him, or he's kind of gave up and he's made up his mind? And that's that because
no, he did like an interview last year at some college football game, and he was just like, yeah, I have next to zero intentions of ever thinking about football again. He's thought that for like the last 5 years. So I'm sure people just gave up even trying.
Yeah. All right. White Sox are in Atlanta. And again, Roth basically said a delay could be concerning if they somehow like anticipate if there's a delay from the start that might push up the clock for a delay as far as starting the actual game. And again, Roth will say this much better than I can, but if you're considering Hurston Waldrop, just kind of put that in your back pocket. Be aware of the weather there in Atlanta. 9 total. Atlanta's have a team total above 5, 5.25 technically. They're big favorites, minus 200 against Martin Perez. I mean, what we've seen for Michael Harris, I know it's left on left. He's been absolutely electric. We've talked about this on previous shows. He changed his batting stance back to his previous batting stance. He was terrible to start the season. One of the best hitters in the second half of the season so far. And then Profar is just every single day. That dude is electric also.
Without steroids, too. Congrats.
I mean, well, he's back from his suspension. We can say that. I mean, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, maybe the last 3 days, he's like, all right, got to get back to him. Now he's got 4 homers in his last 3 games.
Yeah, he's been, what a weird career Profar had. Like 10 years ago, he was the biggest prospect in baseball in Texas and totally flopped out and had a career resurgence at 29 or so. Yeah. Maybe aided, maybe not. That's what you're. I guess we did a suspension, so probably.
Didn't he say like, oh, it was like an allergy medicine or something like that? I know that's kind of like they'll be. Oh, it was an over-the-counter something that was on the list. It wasn't actually steroids, but yeah, who knows the case with Profar?
There's probably like 10% of them that like are telling the truth, like that they just accidentally. Yeah. You can just like accidentally take something, and then there's probably a lot of weird things that are listed that like you wouldn't anticipate, But like obviously sometimes like your agent's always going to say something. Yeah, this is what we got to say, and yeah, it's hard to sort of speculate. Okay, how do we feel about Atlanta versus Martin Perez and the White Sox?
Yeah, I don't feel terrible about these guys. I think that when you mentioned from a stacking perspective, the price on some of these guys are still pretty sound, so you can still fit these guys into lineups. And I will say, the Mookie Betts situation and us kind of talking about the Braves or the Dodgers stack a little bit sort of has me changing things on the fly, because coming into it, I was more so thinking about who can I use to build around cheaply, right? So like the Braves were a team that kind of fit the bill, right? Ozzie Albies, as bad as he's been this year, he's really cheap, been a little bit better this year, always been better against lefties. Michael Harris, like you mentioned, Sean Murphy, these guys are cheaper. So I do like this team. They're going to be in the number 2 tier, Primal Fear. And again, maybe this is a team that maybe deserves a little bit more love if you want to upgrade them as like a top stack. But for me, coming into the show, you know what? Just put them in the top tier. Put them in the top tier because now I think that with the Dodgers sort of getting downgraded a little bit, Braves are probably up there in that top tier fight club. Even though Martin Perez is certainly a gnat sometimes to stack against, but I'll put them in the top tier. And then for the White Sox, again, I know Waldrop, we kind of don't really have a great definitive answer on who he is as a pitcher. But from his first few starts, he's looked pretty good. White Sox, I know that they've been pretty good after the break. They have a couple of big time bats, especially Montgomery. Baldwin's been getting going lately as well. I'll put them in the third tier as well. The Illusionist, they have about a 4 implied team total. You can argue they should be lower, but I think the fact that Waldrop is probably a guy who has some volatility to him, and he's still going to get some ownership, I think the White Sox make for a decent leverage option tonight.
All right, next game, moving along, 7 more to go. Yankees, Rays, Drew Rasmussen versus Cam Schlittler. Kind of a coin toss. Slight favorite here is Tampa in St. Pete in the Yankees home ballpark for spring training. -120 favorite. Both getting about a 4.25 team total. We saw the Yankees last night bang out 9. Probably not going to repeat that. No Stanton, no Goldie in this lineup. Where do you want to throw the Yankees and the Rays?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is Rasmussen is getting a lot of respect in the Vegas markets, right? I mean, this is a Yankees team that just had, like you mentioned, 1 million home runs last night. Rasmussen has a 5.5 strikeout prop. It is plus money, but still 5.5. And the Yankees are only about a 4 implied team total tonight. So a lot of respect for Rasmussen here, and I can't really doubt that, right? I think that this is a pretty good pitcher, and although there is some upside with this Yankees lineup, when you look at how much power they have top to bottom, I'm gonna put them in there in the third tier, the Illusionist tier for the Yankees, just because again they do still have that upside, but Rasmussen's not really a guy I'm going out of my way to target. And then for the Rays, they actually are favored in this one against Schlittler here. You mentioned it, this lineup is just so bad, especially at the back tier. I know Kim's been good recently, but I mean the bottom 3. I mean Magnum was really good beginning of the season. He's kind of died off. But again, I know I say it on every time I'm on a show where I'm talking about the Rays. These guys still have some stolen base upside. I'll put them in the middle tier as well in the Illusionist. So both the Yankees and the Rays in that middle tier.
Bob Seymour. I swear it's a person that plays baseball. He's professionally trained in the 9-hole. Speaking of how bad that lineup, a 26-year-old minor leaguer, almost 27. So shout out to him for getting making to the majors and all that. But Fiducia is also not good. It's bad. It's pretty ugly there. The back half of that Tampa lineup. Do want to mention, by the way, if you get the 150 likes, we will give out 2 individual weeks of RG Premium. We are less than 60 away. So if you haven't done so just yet, hit that like button, smash it, tap it, whatever your adjective of choice happens to be. Caress it. Just get that thumb up. All right. Texas, KC, 8.5 total. Kumar Rocker. We listed a lot of bad pitchers. We didn't mention Kumar Rocker, which I guess that's more about Kumar Rocker. Speaking of prospects, one-time mega prospect hasn't quite come to fruition. Was sent down to the minors, taking on Kansas City here. 8.5 total. KC is the favorite. Cameron against Rocker. Where do we want to throw the Royals and the Rangers?
Yeah, I mean, Rocker's been serviceable. He's a guy that teams probably don't hate throwing out every 4th or 5th day or in that 4th or 5th spot every 5 days in the rotation, but he certainly isn't a guy you're afraid of. I mean, Yaz has come over from the Giants and he's just been tearing the cover off the ball. He's got 3 home runs in his last 4 games. So this Royals team looking a little bit better as of late. Still not dying to stack them. And again, I know we're gonna get through this show. Just real quick reference, and there's gonna be 9 teams here in this middle tier. That just goes to show the dynamic of this slate. I know. I'm just absolutely riding the fence with some of these teams, but Kansas City is not a team I'm going to take a stand on because I don't think that they deserve to be in the Asteroid City tier. And I'm certainly not putting them in the 2 tier because I have a couple teams that will be there. So hopefully at the end of the show, you can see that there's going to be 4 or 5 teams that I like more than the rest. But there's probably a lot of teams in this middle tier. But that's just because some of the pitching, it's tough to really stay away from all these pitchers. So I'll put the Royals there in the Illusionist tier as well. And then for Texas, I mean, this is a team that I will take a little bit of a stand on here. We kind of loosely talked about Noah Cameron. This lineup that they're rolling out here is just very strikeout heavy against left-handed pitching. I will put the Rangers in the Asteroid City tier. You can even argue putting them in the Death to Smoochie tier, but again, like Noah Cameron's not necessarily a pitcher I'm totally afraid of. He just is pretty good for a power prevention standpoint, so not necessarily dying to avoid that there. Sounds like new pitcher for the Rangers.
Jacob Latz is throwing baseballs now for Texas. Okay, we'll figure that out in a second. Bouchley and then Latz. Is Bouchley an opener? I don't know Bouchley. Is he somebody that's out of their pen, I assume?
Yeah, he's going to be an opener.
Caleb Bouchley. Okay. And then Latz. Okay. Was Rocker not officially called up? Was he not activated? I thought he was. He hasn't started. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a weird situation where we didn't have a confirmed probable for the majority of the morning and last night. And then I just kind of assumed that once we had the Rocker projection in there that we were going with him. But yeah, Bouchley is officially confirmed as the probable starter. Latz after him. Real quick on Latz, he's actually been fine this year. I mean, he hasn't been horrible. Does have some power prevention issues against righties. Looking at the Royals lineup, obviously you have Witt, Garcia, and Perez there. So nothing would change for me. I would have them in the same spot.
Here is my question for you. You're talking about Yaz being hot, and the outfielders for Kansas City. It's not hard to all of a sudden be the best outfielder in Kansas City. Their outfield's terrible, but they've been pinch hitting for him. When a lefty comes in, and Jacob Latz is a lefty.
Yeah,
I don't know if they would give him the hook like in the third inning. We've seen that before. Like Minnesota's done that with Julien in the past.
Yeah,
I'm just asking. And I looked at the bat, and this might change. 34% pinch hit risk for Yastrzemski.
Yeah, my question is, when did we get that news? Because are they going to rework their lineup? Did we get the starting lineup for Kansas City before or after?
Yes, before the pitcher.
Okay, so they could still change their lineup?
I don't know if we I assume you're allowed to tinker it if you want to tinker it.
They can for sure change it. But if it came out after the pitching news, they wouldn't change it. But yeah, because the thing is they have Grichuk, so that's what they've been doing, just platooning these two guys. So yeah, if Yaz is still starting, you pretty much can't play him. If we feel like Latz is coming in, he'll probably get yanked for Grichuk. So
yeah, or they start Grichuk because you're only going to get one at bat out of the opener anyway. Maybe,
yeah.
But they're not starting him now, and who knows if they even think about it this hard. Kansas City, whatever. John Raves is going to play because they have Rave out there, they have Isbell out there.
Because if Grichuk ends up in the starting lineup for either Rave, Isbell, or Yastrzemski, he's a good play in my opinion. At 3K, I would like Grichuk quite a bit, and you can even argue for a little bit of a mini stack with 2 to 3 of Grichuk, Witt, Garcia, Perez, even the negative power himself, Jonathan India. You can argue for a stack like that, but the thing is, if Grichuk isn't starting and they're just rolling out this lineup and then probably gonna, pinch hit for someone later, it's difficult to project.
Yeah, and we're just assuming that they would care enough to adjust their lineup, but they just might not. It wouldn't surprise me if it is what it is.
True.
Athletics, Twins, 9 total, Bailey over versus JT Ginn. The Twins are slightly favored here, minus 123. You do have some cheap Twins, some expensive Athletics that have some power. Rooker, Soderstrom, Kurtz, Langoliers. As many of these lineups, it falls off pretty heavily in the back half with Hernaiz and Harris and Urias and Blade. Where do you want to put the Athletics and the Twins?
Yeah, so I know I talked about liking Bailey Ober a little bit, but again, it's not like Bailey Ober's you smash him in your lineup, you play him a ton. You can stack against him here too. So I like the A's in the Primal Fear tier. Again, it's just one of those spots where it's like a team with a lot of power that also strikes out quite a bit. So it's like you can find yourself on either side of the coin there. And if that's the case, where they pop in a power spot, that's great. I mean, we're out of the dog days of summer now, so it's like now we're going to have tons of these heat spots that we've been seeing in for the A's that they've been benefiting from, and now they're in Minnesota rather than in Sacramento. So maybe a little bit of a downgrade there, but I mean, you still have plenty of guys. I mean, you look through 1 through 7, you can make a case for all these guys. Maybe not Hernaiz, but Blade, and then 1 through 5, all these guys look good. So I like the A's quite a bit, even though I think you can still make a case for playing Ober. And then on the other side, Twins will also be in Primal Fear, the Primal Fear tier for me. I like them quite a bit as well. I made a couple jokes about this Twins team and like pretty much selling their entire roster at the deadline. That's true. But they've actually put together a pretty decent team considering they did that, right? Like Keishel is pretty good. Cody Clemens has been pretty good all year against righties. Brooksley just hit a grand slam the other night. Larnack is still here. Buxton's still here. Wallner. James Outman, who is a guy who strikes out half the time, but also does have some power dating back to his Dodgers days. So plenty of ways to use these Minnesota bats in the stack, and honestly in a cheap way as well. You got a lot of really inexpensive options, especially guys like Clemens and Outman, who's min price 2K. He's probably going to be a guy who I just have in lineups just because he's so cheap. And then Brooksley's 2.6 at shortstop. That's a pretty weak position. So lots of ways to use this Minnesota Twins team in a stack tonight.
I think the main fire sale was their bullpen, right? Minnesota losing 5 pieces, part of their bullpen. The offense is mostly the same. But like you mentioned, newly acquired James Outman, who's one time was a big prospect and shown some power, but hasn't quite put it together. Milwaukee and the Cubs, we officially had moved it down to 6.5, by the way, as far as the total here. Mizrachi versus Colin Ray. We've mentioned several times. Roth points it out in his article. The weather is not conducive to banging out homers today in Chicago. Mizrachi, the former Brewer, Ray on the other side. Still no Kyle Tucker in that Chicago lineup. Theoretically, it's an important game for standings, right? If the Cubs have any aspirations, they're 7 behind Milwaukee. They kind of have to win this one. Brewers, Cubs, both these teams with a 3.25 team total. I don't think people are playing them. Are you playing them?
Nope. Both teams in the death to Smoochie tier. Certainly not picking on the Miz. Again, I know he's been limited, so it's kind of like ruining some of his like public stock that he has. But I mean, he's still been pretty fantastic. He has struggled against some of these lefties, but again, when you're taking Kyle Tucker out of the lineup, I know he's been pretty bad over the last like 30 days or so. But no Kyle Tucker, no Willie Castro. Some of these lefties that have been in lineups are not. So I think it's just a pretty good spot for the Miz, who is still going to see mostly lefties, but it actually looks pretty even, righties versus lefties. So I think he's in a good spot. And then on the other side, like Colin Ray, certainly not a guy I'm like overly afraid of, but this Brewers team, obviously they've been fantastic as of late, especially after the All-Star break, but they're still not a team like, they don't like jump off the page. It's like a team that's like, I'm dying to stack or be afraid of. So I think the fact that they have a 3.5 implied team total and the horrible hitting conditions, easy to fade here. So both these teams in the final, in the last tier.
Jake wants to know if he can get 5 innings out of the Miz. You haven't the last 3 times out, 1 1/3, 4 innings, and 3 2/3. A number of pitches, 54, 80, and 64. I think you can, but what's his outs prop today? You happen to have it? Is it like 14.5, 13.5? What's Mizrachi's out prop? I would guess he's not going to, he's less likely to get through 5, but he certainly can. Did I buy you enough time to find it?
They're not even offering an outs prop for him.
Interesting.
So that goes to show. And like the thing is, they probably they feel like they probably can't, because like there could easily, he could be 50 pitches in pitching a no hitter and they could yank him. That's the kind of extremities that we're dealing with here for the Miz. And Jake said it's a big game. Like, sure it is, but also this Brewers team is way more concerned about not only the postseason but also just the future for Mizrachi. So maybe he gets a few extra innings or a few extra pitches in that pitch count because of the divisional game in Wrigley Field. I'm sure he'll pitch good because it's, obviously the Cubs have a 3 implied team total. So maybe he'll work 5 innings, but I still think you'll probably need some efficiency. And I still think there's a good amount of risk that he just gets randomly yanked at like 70 pitches, even though he's pitching fine.
I do too. I'm concerned. I just pulled up, Carty's going to be on in a bit. I was curious what the bat has to say, because the bat projects, actual outs, innings pitched. And it is not very optimistic as far as his outs. It's a medium projection. Understand that. Don't want to fully give it away, but it's not even at 4 as far as the median projection is 4 innings pitched. Because you got to bake some stuff in on the other side with, like you said, the pitch counts, they want him to pitch when games really, really matter, and they want to save those innings as much as possible. Okay, moving along. We still have, I believe, 3 more games to knock out. Make sure, again, last call, because we are, after we finish these 3 games, after we finish the tiers, we're going to give away 2 individual weeks. of RG Premium if we happen to get 150 likes. We already have one. And get yourself on the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel, and find producer Steve's post, Steve HOF, and just hit the avatar of the RG banner, and you get your name on that wheel. We'll spin it momentarily.
Need 42 more likes.
42. What do you think? You think we're going to get there? 42?
I mean, if these people would stop, yawning, we'd get there easily. I mean, what do we got to do? What do we got to do?
I don't
start
know.
dancing? We need to dance for the people?
I mean,
do we need to bring the smoke?
You said you're bringing the smoke. I feel like under the banner of bringing the smoke, I think is dancing. I think that's one of the
Listen, I had to sit here and hype up Nick Martinez for 15 minutes. That's the smoke that I'm bringing. All right,
that's impressive work.
Yeah, and then now when Nick Martinez comes up with -4 DraftKings points and people are sliding in my DMs to tell me I'm cruel, then I'll be full circle.
Get that block button ready.
No, Dodgers, I embrace it.
Dodgers are in Colorado, 11.5 total. They have a team total above 7. They did not put Mookie Betts in the lineup. Ohtani, Will Smith, Freeman, Teoscar, Pages, Conforto, Freeland, Rojas, and Buddy Kennedy. They're still trying to make Buddy Kennedy happen, aren't they, in LA?
I can't believe that.
I mean, this is the Muncy injury, obviously, but still, that's the best we can do. Taking on the Rockies, we're expecting Ohtani to pitch around 5. Robleski is the presumed long man behind him, but I don't know what's left. If Ohtani's throwing 5, you're probably not rostering Robleski. Gordon versus the Dodgers. Where are we putting these teams on the board?
Yeah, Dodgers are going to be, like you alluded to at the top. I will say, there's potentially more game theory involved now with, again, you can't play Ohtani on DraftKings, no Mookie Betts in the lineup. And now, the reason why that's unfortunate is because now you're pigeonholed, right? You either have to play some of these horrible players like Buddy Kennedy or Miguel Rojas or Alex Freeland just to get different within the Dodgers stack, or you have to play the same guys that everybody else is playing in the Dodgers. So that's the one thing about the Dodgers, in years or in months past or years past, you could play Andy Pages and be contrarian within the Dodger stack. That's not the case. Everybody who's playing the Dodgers tonight is going to play Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar, Pages, and Conforto. It's going to be those 5. So you either have to play the contrarian guys that nobody wants to play, which they can still get there. I mean, it's in Coors Field. It's a good matchup against a bad pitcher. They can still get there, but there's a reason why nobody wants to play those guys. So I think the Dodgers have come down. Maybe they're there's less of a gap in the tier, but I still think they are deserving of having the spot in the Flight Club tier. I will say one thing: maybe don't stray away from playing some of these guys at the bottom of the order, especially if you're using Ohtani or other popular pitchers, or maybe not a super contrarian secondary stack, because again, you can't just play all 5 of these guys and the same pitchers that everybody's playing and the same secondary stack and expect to have any sort of success in tournaments.
All right. Poll in chat, by the way. Fight Club, surprisingly, has a 64%, well, not lead, but it's 64% to 36%. Better movie, Fight Club or Rounders? I thought Rounders would get the lean here. To me, it's a coin toss. I'm not going to fight you either way. I didn't do it. I didn't say that way because the Fight Club just kind of worked out that way. But, I thought it was a coin toss. But so far, right now, the chat is on Fight Club. Did you put the Rockies on the board? Did I miss the Rockies?
Oh, sorry. Bottom tier for the Rockies.
Bottom tier. Tier 5, hanging out with Death to Smoochie. All right. How do you feel about one-offing the Dodgers? They're asking about one-offing Will Smith. I think that's fine. If that's a different route you want to take, you want to go 4-3-1. Is that something that you think is okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's put Colorado in the Asteroid City tier. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think Will Smith is probably going to be the guy that I think people will most likely one off because he's a catcher. But I think you can do that. It's fine.
Reds Angels, Nick Martinez against Kikuchi. We've talked about this Angel lineup being pretty strikeout heavy, especially with the absence of Sean Well. Quevedos also projects to be a really, really heavy strikeout hitter in the majors. Kikuchi, pretty good against lefties, a little bit rougher against righties. I think we're going to get a pile of righties, right? They are leading off TJ Friedl, which is a lefty, but beyond that, I think it's 8 righties if I'm counting correctly. Yeah, it is 8 righties. De La Cruz, career-wise, not as good against lefties. I'm probably not going to play him. The shortstop's a pretty tough position. And I thought it was interesting to get away from Betts. As that's a way to differentiate your LA Dodger stacks. But with him not playing, well, that's not a route. That's not a path we can do today. But yeah, De La Cruz, strikes out a lot. He's not patient. 123 ISO versus lefties. So I think he's kind of overpriced today. I'm curious your thoughts though. Angels and Reds, where do you want to throw them on the board?
Yeah, I guess real quick on the shortstop topic. I'm just looking at the position. People are going to be playing Bobby Witt in bunches right now. So again, if that's a way to get contrarian now that no Mookie Betts is on the slate, definitely consider that, especially if you're someone that is stacking those top 5 Dodgers guys. For Cincinnati or for the Angels, I'm going to put them in the Asteroid City tier. Again, you can certainly make a case for them being higher, and I'm not going to argue it. I don't think that Nick Martinez is good, but I already talked about playing him enough, so I might as well just die on this hill and then just go off peacefully into the night. And then and then for the Reds, I have no interest in playing them tonight. I think they are bad against left-handed pitching, so they'll be in the bottom tier. And also, the more I look at it, the more I think Kikuchi is a really, really safe play tonight. So I think that they're not going to be a team I have much of tonight.
23% as far as the Ks collectively with the Cincinnati lineup. Couple contact guys, Friedel, but not a lot of power. Same deal with Trevino doing the catching tonight for Cincinnati. Cabrian Hayes, completely punchless. 32% ISO this year versus lefties. He's got a really good glove, really good defensively, and he needs it because that bat, it's disappeared. I would say he left it in Pittsburgh, but he didn't have it in Pittsburgh for a while either. All right. Last game on the slate, crunch time, right around the corner. It's the Giants. The Giants taking on the Padres, JP Sears, Landon Roop. 8 total. Did we get the Giants lineup, or that's the one we're waiting on? I think we're still waiting on the Giants, right? Padres is Tatis, Arise, Machado, or Hearn, Laureano, Sheets, Iglesias, Cronenworth, and Freddie Fermin. Padres are favorite here, minus 157 against Landon Roop. Where do you want to put the Giants and the Padres for the Hammer game? I'm calling it the Hammer game. It starts 2 minutes after Cincinnati and the Angels on the slate. Giants, Padres.
Yeah, I'm gonna put both these teams in the middle tier here, and I guess I'll talk about the Giants a little bit. They have a 3.8 implied team total. So yeah, things aren't looking great for this team. But again, Sears is going to be popular, and the more I think about it, I think he's going to be really popular, especially if he has any ownership on FanDuel. I'm not saying you have to stack the Giants. I almost said the 49ers, but you don't have to stack the Giants to necessarily have leverage against Sears. You just simply don't have to play Sears. But I do think that they're probably a team that would be in the 4th tier for me because Sears does have a lot of power prevention issues. But with the leverage of the ownership and the game theory dynamics, I'll bump them up a tier. And then for the Padres are just like one of the better teams in baseball that just suck for stacking. Like they just don't seem to have big games offensively, and it's just super frustrating. I know
like
they
Milwaukee.
added a couple. Yeah, 100%. And it gets the job done in real life, but it doesn't pay the bills for us. So it's not too fun. I know Hearn finally went yard for them the other night, so maybe they'll finally get something going. Roop does give up a lot of hard contact. He does do a good job of keeping the ball on the ground, though, so they'll be in the middle tier for me.
No Xander Bogaerts, by the way. If you're looking at Sandy lineup, I ran it down. Iglesias is in there, so probably a downgrade. I know Bogaerts not as good as he once was, but probably a downgrade there to the offense. Going to recap the board. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel. And Kyle, if you have some bets, think of some bets or some homers, give the people something. They hit the like button a ton. Now we did incentivize it. We're going to give away a couple weeks of RG Premium. So,
I saw some people asking for you to twerk, so maybe that'll be more important.
Well, how many likes? You think I have that in my arsenal?
Hey,
my twerking days are over, man. We got to put some zeros in the back end of the likes if you're going to get some twerking out of me. Okay, so let's recap the board. I power ranked my favorite Edward Norton movies. And again, there's a bunch that are tier 1 that I had to leave out. I settled on Fight Club, but whatever. It could be Fight Club. It could be Rounders. It could be American History X. Those are all phenomenal. Fight Club tier 1. It's Atlanta and the Dodgers. Tier 2, Primal Fear. That is the Athletics and Minnesota. Right smack in the middle is the Illusionist. We have the White Sox, Tampa, the Yankees, Kansas City, San Fran, and San Diego. The most popular tier, Asteroid City. That is tier 4, Texas, Colorado, and the Angels. And his worst movie, Death to Smoochie. You have the Reds, the Cubs, and the Brewers. All right, let's bring in producer Steve. Let's go ahead and give the wheel a spin. We're going to give away 2 individual weeks of RG Premium right now. Now's the time to twerk.
Hey, it's not too late.
Golf met, I think that Mr. Richard in YouTube. Congratulations.
Was he trying to get the 420 or just dancing around it? Like, because I thought there was a 420 and it wasn't quite 420, but maybe I'm being presumptuous.
Your head's in the gutter, Dean.
04240. Of course, that makes total sense.
Kirkwood saying no twerk to this song.
Bring him on.
Zero. All right, I'll shoot you guys a message.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody that hit the like button. And get your stuff week for each RV Premium. And if you want, you can get Scores and Odds dealer's choice, whichever you prefer. Kyle gave you some time here. Any homers? You have any bets out there in the streets? You have any Scores and Odds props you have up there? Am I wrong in saying that I think you might have posted something for the college football season already? Am I making that up? Isn't there a game like Ireland that's happening?
Yeah, we have week 0. Yeah, I have my first college football play up last year. In the first month, I was extremely hot in college football, so hopefully we can keep that up. So I can give that away. I have 3 home run plays, and I have a strikeout prop. I'm just rattle them all off.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, strikeout prop, taking the under. Landon Roop, 3.5. Taking the under at plus money, plus 105 or at MGM right now. Like that one. My 3 home run props are going to be Sean Murphy against Martin Perez. I'm going to Michael Garcia, going to target this platoon situation with the opener for the Rangers. And then finally, looking at the Twins, I'm going with Cody Clemens, the son of Roger, to go yard here against JT Ginn. And then my college football prop, which is for Saturday, Dublin, Ireland, taking Kansas State -3 over the Iowa State Cyclones.
We didn't talk enough about it, I don't think, as far as maybe you did and I missed it. But Ginn's splits, it's not the biggest sample, but his left-right splits, right? Versus righties, 30%, 33% strikeouts, 3% walks, 150 ISO, 260 WOBA. But for his lefties, the strikeouts are cut in half, essentially 17%. The walks at 11.8%. You don't necessarily want to walk, but yeah, he has no confidence there versus the lefties, and a 305 ISO, a 443 WOBA. So you mentioned in Clemens, who's got a 272 ISO versus righties this year. I do like that call. Larnack, just the lefty power stuff. Wallner, even, dare I say, James Outman, in theory. I guess there's some pinch hit risk there. But I just like the lefties against Ginn. Going to get at least 2 shots there, I would imagine. We do have crunch time coming in here momentarily. I think we're still waiting for them to fully assemble. Can you give me just is there a team? Is there a player that you are most afraid of not having in your lineup? What's your boldest fade as of right now? And maybe your lineups have not quite been made because of, news broke on the show, but who are you most afraid of not having enough of or any?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe the Angels. I mean, I'm not too afraid of them being super popular, but again, I think that's just the team that I'm sort of ignoring because apparently I'm Nick Martinez's biggest fan. I just ordered his jersey. I think I got the fan club stuff coming in the mail now too. So that's probably the spot I'm most afraid of. But I think the more I build lineups, it's pretty easy to get off Dodgers, like when you're trying to be contrarian. And that's obviously terrifying considering they have a 7.5 implied team total. So I would say maybe those 2 spots. And again, the only reason about the Dodgers is just because everybody's going to play the same 5 hitters. So it's like if you play the Dodgers, you either have to play these 3, guys at the bottom of the lineup who are bums, to be frank, and that also are probably going to get pinch hit for. So you're kind of just handcuffing yourself to the rest of the public. So I guess I would say theoretically the Dodgers as well.
All right, let's do it. Crunch time. They are fully assembled. We got Kevin Roth. We have Kristi. We have Derek Carty. Crunch time right now. Saw the news, if you saw the schedule, if you saw the slate, you want to care to guess what time. What is going on?
Dean, this is what I deal with every time. Welcome to my life, Dean.
Carty is hammering those keys.
Carty has hammers
Is that
for
Carty?
fingers. He hits that keyboard like it insulted his mother. He bangs that thing.
I thought that was me for a minute because I was addressing a hater in the chat, so I'm glad that wasn't me. That was Carty.
Don't worry, I got your back, Kyle.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
What is the angry typing meme? Like the GIF? Like that's what I'm picturing now with Carty. But is your mic like literally on like your on your keyboard? Like where is your mic located?
It is next to my keyboard, but the keyboard itself is loud. It's a mechanical keyboard. I like the way it feels, but it's loud.
All right, fair enough. Roth tonight, first pitch, 7:15.
Oh, Jesus. There's no way. There's no way.
It's 6:15 for Roth. You get the extra hour, you're fine.
We're not making it. That's 55 minutes from now. Kyle, what are we going to talk about? I don't have Dean's gift of gab. I can't.
Carty's keyboard for like 8 more minutes.
Right.
We could talk about Edward Norton. That was today's power rankings, by the way. Do you have a favorite Edward Norton movie? Does one stand out to anybody? That's for the field.
I mean, he's had like a dozen incredible movies. How do you pick one?
Well, that's the whole point of the conversation. That's why I'm asking you. You could say Fight Club. You could say Primal Fear. You could say American History X. You could say Rounders. I think it's amongst those 4, but you could go off the board if you want.
I think it's
TJ's trolling saying the Hulk. That movie was horrible. TJ just has to say that for his other brand.
It's like his one Ireland.
I don't think he's trolling, actually. Some people liked the Edward Norton Hulks. I don't think he's actually trolling. I think he's being serious.
I have a hot one. I have a hot take on this.
Okay.
Red Dragon. Did you see Red Dragon?
Yeah, the prequel to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I freaking love that movie. And I think Ed Norton is the star in that movie, if I'm not mistaken. And that is my number 1 Ed Norton movie.
Okay. Oh, you know what? The Illusionist. That is my favorite Ed Norton movie.
You know what I told Kyle? The problem with The Illusionist is, Carty, it came out the exact same time as the Prestige. And the Prestige is better.
As good as the Prestige was. But nobody thought that. Everyone just was on board with the Prestige.
The Prestige is better. Are you saying Illusionist is better? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Slightly. Oh. I mean, they're both great movies.
All right. Fair enough. Kristi, you have anything for Edward Norton?
I'd probably say Primal Fear, actually.
He did that when he was like 22 years old. That was his very first movie.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
Was that on the board? I'm trying to remember now. Not the board. Yeah, it was on the board. It was the 2-hole.
2-hole, yeah.
There you go.
Come on, Dean. This is your thing.
I forgot. There's so many. Like Carty said, there's so many. I forgot what I threw on the board or not, but it's definitely in the 2-hole. We got to get Kyle to watch one of these movies. He's not seen any of them. Which one should Kyle watch amongst all the ones that were thrown out there?
Like he's seen 0 Ed Norton movies in his entire life?
I saw The Complete Unknown 2024 movie.
The Bob Dylan movie?
Yeah.
So,
and I saw The Incredible Hulk.
The starter kit.
He has to watch Rounders, obviously. He's a
Rounders.
That's a good answer. Yeah, watch Rounders. Yeah.
Okay. I'll do it with a gun to my head, just for you guys.
No, you'll like it. You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's a good movie.
All right. It's a very good movie and holds up well, I think. All right. Let's see. Once they step out of here, you still have 55 minutes, Roth. 55 minutes. Kill a few minutes for you, though. Kill a few minutes. I still like the under. That challenge is being thrown out there. I still like the under 7:15 and get your bets in. But myself and Kyle, we do appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on notifications. You got an 8-gamer. And Roth, if people want to know about that weather in Chicago, because we have a 7-game slate, but I'm having a hard time clicking any of those hitters there, the way you're talking about it and the way Weather Edge does not like the hitting conditions for the Cubs and the Brewers. But that is our time. Myself and Kyle, thank you. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz, 2 fan favorites. Derek Carty in the house. What's up, man? How are you?
Doing pretty well. A little, I don't know, offended that Kyle has never seen an Ed Norton movie except for one that came out last year. But I mean,
I guess a child. I think he's only 17, to be fair. He's very young.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense, though.
Yeah. So he is not even allowed to see rated R movies until like I think last year. So
He needs his older
he's gotta
brother
catch
to
up.
go out to the video store and rent it for him
Yes.
because they won't. Yeah.
That's right. But other people, by the way, Kyle, you're getting killed in the chat for not seeing Rounders. Like, you are a gambling content provider. It is the quintessential gambling movie.
Yes.
You gotta see Rounders. You gotta make that happen. Anyways, we got Carty in the house. We also have Kristi as well. Kristi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yes, I think first show of the year too with Derek. So looking forward to it. Always great to listen to him, and always great to see you, Kevin, too. So looking forward to it.
Agreed. You know, the chat is always excited when we have you on, Kristi. I do have to tell you something. I'm embarrassed to admit I have never seen Primal Fear, and I feel like Kyle right now not seeing Rounders. So that's my bad.
Put that on your list. Check it out, and then let me know.
Okay. I am a movie buff, so I will make sure to do that. Apologies for not seeing it up to this point. Let's talk about the weather. Dean mentioned, hey, we got some things going on. Two things really. One is we've got to talk about the wind in Wrigley, right? Earlier this morning, I thought it was going to be about a 20-mile-per-hour wind. Now models are coming in around 15, but it's a wind blowing in at Wrigley, and we all know how much that matters. I love any of those no home run prop bets or under 1.5 home run prop bets. I do not like home run props in that game. I think you're crazy to do so. And of course, I just generally speaking, I like pitchers and not hitters in that one. The other game that we have to discuss, and I'm surprised Dean didn't mention this, is Kyle's giving me shit for not seeing Primal Fear. Get out of here. You've seen none of the movies, Kyle. You're not allowed to do that. The other thing we have to talk about is Atlanta. If they don't late start in Atlanta, I don't think you can play pitchers. If they do late start, and I think they will, I'm at least a little bit worried about them eventually postponing the game. I'm not worried enough that I think you should fade it. I think the likely outcome at this point is late start, long wait, eventual play, and a clean game. But anytime a team late starts before the rain arrives, that always makes me nervous. And I'm a little bit worried that's what's going to happen here. So we'll see if they late start. If they do not late start, don't play pitchers because there's a pretty good shot of a delay. If they do late start, you're probably okay with pitchers and hitters. And if they don't late start, you're totally fine with bats because if they start the game, they're sure as hell going to finish the game, even if it gets delayed. So bats would be fine at that point. Does that all check out?
Think so.
Yeah, that work. Kristi, how much interest do you have in pitchers there in Atlanta?
I really don't. So
nice. Yeah. Okay, very good. So we'll monitor what's going on there in Atlanta, and we'll see whether or not they announce a late start. And if they do, then we'll kind of regroup and see what we want to do about that. But right now, I think if they late start, pitchers are back on the table, and there's some post-moment risk, but not a high.
I should actually take that back. Actually, there is a pitcher that we do want to target in Atlanta. So we've got Waldrop. So we'll talk about him in a bit, but there is a pitcher that we do like. So.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, we shall kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. And a few other people in chat saying, yeah, I kind of like Waldrop, a little bit.
Yep.
Let's dive into it. Let's talk about the pitchers. Carty, you get the honor of leading us off. What do we got?
I don't know if I'd call it an honor today. This might be the worst pitching slate we've had all year. Like it's bad. Not a single pitcher projects for more than 15 points on DraftKings. It is bad.
Shohei? Is it finally Shohei time?
It kind of could be because even though they've said he's not going to go beyond 5 innings for the rest of the year, and even though he's in Coors Field, he still actually does project as the best pitcher on the slate.
That's insane.
Or one of at least. The problem is like that upside is capped, but on this slate, like who really does have upside? So yeah, you can definitely have some Ohtani today. My general approach on slates like this, where I think everything is bad and everything is comparably bad.
You start dumpster diving, baby. You get down there in the muck.
Yeah. So like JP Sears, I think will be popular tonight, but I think he's one of my favorites. You can do like Colin Ray and Bailey Ober and Nick Martinez, and I don't hate JT JT Ginn or Ginn or however you pronounce his name. Like, it's just one of those slates where like everyone's going to almost everyone projects between like 10 and 15 points. So why am I going to pay $9K for Noah Cameron? Like, I'm just, for me, that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts? You want to add anything else there, Carty, or you feel like that about covers it?
I mean, that about covers it. I could name another 6 guys that you can play because they all project the same, but I'll leave that up to viewers' imagination.
Okay, fair enough. Kristi, I want to get your takes here. What are you thinking as you look at this not pretty pitcher list?
Yeah, it isn't very pretty, especially at the top. And I just think there's not a lot at the top outside of Waldrop. But of course, we've got some weather issues there. Get to that in a second. But I mean, I think Ohtani, he projects to be pretty popular. And again, he's only playable on DraftKings at just 7,500. Sears, I do think is going to be very popular. And I do like him. Even on FanDuel, it really allows you to get, of course, a lot of the Dodger bats in there, but it allows you to do a lot of creative things with your lineup and get a lot of spend up bats in there. So I like Sears probably the most. I do think Waldrop is an interesting play. I mean, he's one of Atlanta's top prospects, of course, and he's had 3 really good starts. He's had 7 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts. He's gone at least 5 innings, 5 to 6 innings. So I think, he's 8,700 on DraftKings, I think 91 or 9,200 over on FanDuel. So, depending on the weather, he is somebody I do have interest in GPPs. But yeah, it's mostly kind of a pay down. I've kind of found myself, I'm doing 20 entries tonight, and I find myself kind of building the lineups first and then kind of seeing where I can fit pitchers in. There's just not a lot, like Carty said, to really love it at the top tonight.
Okay. I suppose that's fair enough, although I have no idea at this point what I'm supposed to do.
I think for me, and I think even for single entry too, like over on FanDuel, for instance, I think Sears is a fine play because you're going to want to get some of those Dodger bats in there. So I definitely like that. I think Ohtani and Sears is going to be pretty popular over on DraftKings, that pairing, just to get enough bats. Now, of course, on DraftKings, you don't get to play Ohtani as a bat, so that makes it a little bit tougher. And so lineups are going to look a little bit different over on that site. So, but I do think that's going to be where the popularity lies. But yeah, I think we're going to want to just get kind of different on the bats because some of the cheaper pitchers are going to project or be a little bit more popular tonight.
Okay, who were the 2 pitchers, Kristi, in the Chicago game with those winds blowing in?
So we have in the Chicago game, we have
Colin Ray and Jacob.
Colin Ray. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, strangely enough, I actually have more interest in Ray than Mizorowski.
I suppose Mizorowski's just coming back from injury. Is that it?
Yeah, it's his second start back from injury. Like, he's probably not going to be able to go over like 70 pitches.
That's the worry. Yeah, exactly.
And he's expensive. You don't get any kind of discount on him.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I like him overall as a pitcher, and I think he's going to be great. But yeah, coming off the injury, not sure how many innings he's going or how many pitches he's going to get to. I think it's a little bit tough to play him tonight. But yeah, I probably have a little bit more interest in Colin Ray too, which again, he's not carrying much ownership. And I think in a Wrigley blowing in type of game, if you land on him, I think that's okay.
I mean, Ray, Sears, and give me all the bats. Although exactly maybe everybody else is also getting all the bats. Okay, interesting. Let's talk about some of those bats and stacks, Kristi. We start, of course, with the Dodgers. They're in Coors. I think they scored 11 runs last night, if I'm not mistaken. Scored a decent amount. But they need to score a bunch because they're expensive. What are your thoughts there and some of these other stacks?
Yeah, and like I mentioned, the stacks are going to look a little bit different on site. So FanDuel, I really have a ton of interest just because, Ohtani's expensive, 5,200, but definitely worth it. But Dodgers are just a great stack tonight. They're the top one by far. A couple other stacks I really like. The A's are a stack I have quite a bit of interest. Bailey Ober's given up quite a bit of power really to both sides of the plate. So I like the A's. They can put up, or the Athletics, they can put up a ton of points quickly. You've got Kurtz, you've got Shea Longlier, you've got Brent Rooker, you've got just a lot of great bats in that lineup. So I like that. The Braves, you've got Acuna back, but you've got guys like Michael Harris that has just been absolutely phenomenal in the last couple of weeks, changed some things in his batting stance, and he's been hitting home runs left and right. So I think, up against Perez, I like that. And then the White Sox bullpen, not good either. So that's another stack that I have quite a bit of interest in. I don't mind getting to a few of the Twins, some of the left-handed bats in the Twins lineup. Brooks Lee, Clemens, Larnach, Wallner. I think they're interesting. I don't think they're going to carry a ton of ownership. I think they're a little bit sneakier. And then Angels and Reds, I think, are decent enough stacks too. Reds will be very low owned, but I don't mind getting to some of them. You've got like Miguel Andujar, who's been really good lately too. So I think some of those guys are fine. But yeah, Dodgers, A's, Braves, a little bit of Reds, Twins, and then the Angels for me.
Okay, very good. Carty?
Totally agree on the Dodgers. Like, they're far and away the best, but they will also be far and away the highest owned.
Yep.
I like Colorado on the other side, not as much, but I like them just as much as any non-Dodger team today, probably more than any non-Dodger team. They're against Ohtani, but we know he's not going to go the whole game. Hard cap at 5 innings, they've said. Probably Roboleski for 2 or 3 innings behind him, which will be nice. And it's still Coors Field, and they're relatively cheap. And I don't think they're going to be that much more owned than anybody else on the slate. So I like. Oh, and you get the leverage off of Ohtani, who will be fairly popular, I would think. So yeah, I like Colorado a lot. I like Kristi's call on the Braves, and it's one of those slates where really there's not a wrong answer, but I really don't mind stacking or mini stacking against some of the pitchers that will pick up the ownership here. Like we have JP Sears chalk tonight. You can stack some Giants against JP Sears. You can stack, I guess Ohtani was the other one I was thinking of. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with stacks, I think.
Okay, that seems fair. Let's go around the horn, talk position by position. Carty, you can start us off with a little catcher talk, please.
At just about every position, the top guy by a lot is going to be a Dodger. So Will Smith is the guy. If you can get up there, great. I do think from like a cash point per dollar kind of standpoint, like he's a priority guy. Hunter Goodman is the next best. And he's only 600 cheaper. So I think anyone who's playing a catcher in that game is going to be going towards Smith. I don't think Goodman's going to be very owned, but I like him a lot as a pivot in tournaments. If you need to save money, Sean Murphy for the Braves looks like the best guy to do it with, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Kristi, your thoughts on catcher, please.
Yeah, I do. I think Will Smith obviously is going to carry a lot of ownership, but I like the Goodman call a lot. I do think some of those Rockies bats are sneaky. Goodman has definitely been a bright spot in the Rockies lineup this year. Definitely can hit for power. And so I really like that pivot. We've got Shea Longlier. He's 5,600, so he's up there on DraftKings, but I think he's a great play. And mentioned Twins. I definitely prefer the left-handed bats, but at 3,300, I think Ryan Jeffers is definitely not a bad play there. And I think some of the Twin stacks if you're playing 20 entry max or more, you definitely want to get some exposure there. Let's see who else. I do think, you could throw Kyle Teal in there. I know he hit a home run last night. I know we like the pitching on that side a little bit too, but he's still pretty inexpensive. I think, Salvador Perez, throw him in there. And I like the Sean Murphy call too. He's always really pretty cheap. And at just 3,400, you definitely want to, he's a fine one-off, but I do like him in the Braves stacks as well.
Okay. Very good. Kristi, how about first base?
Yeah. So for first base, you're going to have Freddie Freeman. That's going to look pretty good, carry the most ownership. He's probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. Freeman's been hitting really well. Like him. He's at 3,900, I believe, on FanDuel, 6K over on DraftKings. So he's up there, but like him quite a bit. I think another good pivot is Nick Kurtz. He's just been phenomenal. And again, like the Athletic stack quite a bit tonight. So I think getting him in your lineup, you're automatically going to get a little different. we've only got him projected around 7% ownership compared to 21% for Freeman. So I think that's a very interesting play. Vinny Pasquantino in the Royal stack, 4,300. He's been hitting the ball really well. If you're looking to save some money, Cody Clemens, I just think is a sneaky Twins play tonight. I know there was a couple guys that have him tagged in lineup HQ tonight, so I definitely like that option. And then I think, I mentioned the Reds a little bit too. You could play Spencer Steer here, not carrying much ownership either. And then Bernabel is just 3,800. I know Carty talked about Colorado being so cheap, and it really allows you to do some unique things with your lineup. So I like some of those rocky guys at cheap ownership tonight.
Okay, very good. Carty, your thoughts at first base, please.
Yeah, definitely agree about Bernabel. Freeman's the top guy, obviously, but Bernabel, I think in tournaments is a really nice guy to play. Not going to pick up much ownership. Solid hitter, solid plate discipline. I like Colorado tonight. I think though you can definitely just if you're not paying up for Freeman, some of the other top guys aside from Kurtz, I don't think are great tonight. Like Matt Olson is lefty. Devers is lefty. Devers, I always say it wrong. Devers is lefty. Before chat gets on me. So I think going down to the 3K range, Miguel Vargas in particular, even though he's against Waldrop, who is probably one of the more talented pitchers on this slate, Vargas, his talent just exceeds this 3K price tag that he just has every single day. So I like Vargas a lot. I think Cody Clemens for 100 more is totally fine. And on FanDuel, you get a pretty significant discount on Yandy Diaz. So I like him a little bit over there.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us to second base. Carty, better or worse than pitchers today?
It's close, which is telling you something.
Yeah.
It's actually probably better than pitchers today because at least at second base today, you don't have to think about it too much from a value standpoint. The Dodgers guys, you have Buddy Kennedy for 3.1K. You have Alex Freeland for 3.6K. Just play one of them. They'll have some ownership, but probably not crazy amount because the people who are stacking Dodgers are probably not picking Buddy Kennedy in their stack. So I don't know. I kind of like those guys tonight, even if you aren't playing a bunch of Dodgers stuff. Ozzy Albies is the other guy in that price range that I think projects, pretty well, but it drops off fast. Yeah.
Okay. You were going to say another name and you're like, I don't want to. I hate what I was about to say. Well, who was it?
Yeah, I mean, I say a Rocky at every position. Am I really going to say the worst Rocky? So Ryan Ritter, you can play too for 2.7K.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't seem great. Kristi, your thoughts at second base, please.
Yeah, I think LB's obviously is going to be pretty popular. I mean, he is cheap on both sites, and do have interest in him. Especially for cash games. If you're playing cash games tonight, makes a lot of sense. Rengifo is batting 2 in the Angels lineup tonight. So he's just 2,400 on FanDuel, 2,900. So I definitely don't mind him, even as a one-off if you need somebody cheap in your stacks there. Freeland, cheap. He's batting 7th tonight. So don't mind that. Both he and Buddy Kennedy, like Carty mentioned, are options. You're paying up for him, but Brandon Lau is an option. He's cheaper over on FanDuel. Marcus Semien, don't mind. Luke Keeschel, his price has come up a decent amount, but still don't mind him. And if I'm playing a twin stack, he's somebody I want to make sure that I get in my lineup. So don't mind him. But yeah, for me, I'm probably looking at guys like LB's, Rengifo, maybe even some Alex Freeland in there, looking to maybe save a little bit at this position.
Okay, good stuff. Let's go to third base. Kristi, what are you doing there?
Yeah, so for third base, looking at a lot of guys that are pretty similar. Again, you're going to have guys like Freeland and Rengifo both have eligibility here. A guy that I think is interesting, though, is Miguel Vargas, and going up against a good pitcher tonight, but the White Sox have obviously been hitting very, very well lately, so don't mind that. Jan Moncada is somebody in the Angels lineup, I think, that you could get to relatively cheap. Miguel Andujar, I think, is just an interesting one-off. I also do like the red stacks as kind of a good GPP stack, but at just 3,800, I would gladly play him as a one-off. Let's see. You could throw Caminero in there for the Rays, but he's pretty expensive, so don't mind that. But yeah, again, probably more of a save spot for me with guys like Rengifo, Freeland, Vargas, and Andujar for me.
Okay, very good. Carty, your thoughts there at third, please.
A lot of my thoughts at third are kind of recycled thoughts from first and second. Like, I like Vargas a lot. I think he might be the best third baseman on this slate tonight, which says a whole lot about the state of third base tonight. And he's only 3K, so I like Vargas a lot. Buddy Kennedy, if you're not playing him at second, is also probably one of the better third basemen tonight. Alex Freeland, if you're not playing him at second, also probably one of the better third basemen tonight. It's just one of those slates where I feel like third base is really, really barren. You can spend up on Caminero or Machado. I won't tell you not to do that. But otherwise, I think you probably just save money with those guys, or you can probably throw like Young, Andujar, Orlando Arcia, Brian Hayes into the mix. Really just kind of take your pick. They're all equally mediocre today.
Okay. Kristi had mentioned Andujar, and a couple people in the chat saying that they love that play as well. So I'm glad that you brought that name up.
Yeah, I like him that tonight.
Yeah, that brings us to shortstop, Carty, right? Yeah, short.
Yep. Bobby Witt's the top guy, but with the Dodgers and Coors, not a priority in cash, but in GPPs that will probably keep his ownership down to a pretty reasonable level. And it's not like he's in a bad spot by any means here. Rocker has had his issues this year, so I like Witt a lot in tournaments. From a value perspective, I like Corey Seager. I like Ezekiel Tovar for the Rockies. And if you want to go really cheap, I think Brooks Lee is for 2.6 is the guy you probably do it with. And then if you're homer hunting in GPPs, Willy Adames, I love today. Going to be super low owned, platoon advantage against Sears. You get the leverage off of Sears. Like, he's the guy that can take advantage of Sears. So price is reasonable. I like him a lot.
Okay, good stuff. Kristi, your favorites there at short. Carty mentioned you got Witt at the top, but maybe you're saving, maybe you're doing something else.
Yep, I do like Witt, and I think he's fine. I like both he and Corey Seager. Like over on FanDuel too, Corey Seager's just 3,200, so I think he's pretty easy to get. If you're playing Sears and the Dodgers, you can get Seager in there pretty comfortably. But I also like Brooks Lee quite a bit. He's, again, we mentioned some of those Twins guys, and Lee is a guy that can definitely hit. And he's just 2,600, 2,500. He's batting high enough up in the lineup tonight that I think he's third, isn't he? He's batting third. So I like that quite a bit. I also like Carty's Ezekiel Tovar call. It's that now that I would say the Rockies are a lot more expensive over on FanDuel. They're priced similar to some of the Dodgers. So I think on DraftKings, I just love the Rockies over there. So I wanted to highlight Tovar as well. Let's see. Yeah. So Witt, Lee, Seager. I think you could throw Ellie De La Cruz in there too. We talked about the Reds a little bit. You're paying up for him though. And then I'd also throw Colson Montgomery in there. He is in the lineup tonight. He's 4,300. Again, like the pitching on that side too, but I do like some of these White Sox bats. And you've got Vargas at 3K and Colson at 4.3K on DraftKings. So I don't mind him for tournaments as well.
Okay, very good. That brings us to the outfield. Kristi, I know we got a whole lot to choose from, but you got to kind of dive in. Give me some of your favorites there.
Yeah. So there's kind of a lot to like out here. Obviously, there's a lot of high-end bats that have a lot of interest in, and that kind of starts out, again, on DraftKings, you can't play Shohei Ohtani. Over on FanDuel, Shohei Ohtani is pretty easy to get. Again, if you're playing guys like Sears or saving money at pitching, I want to make sure I get Ohtani into my lineup. But over on DraftKings, Teoscar Hernandez is going to be one of the more popular guys. We've got him projected to be the highest. I would also say Ronald Acuna looks pretty good. Andy Pajas. Mike Trout, I think, looks pretty good too at just 4,500 over on DraftKings. He's only 3,200 over on FanDuel, so I think he's fine over there too. Looking to save a little bit, Michael Harris has to be one of the better plays. I mean, he's just still 3,400 over on DraftKings, and he's just been on an absolute tear. So Michael Harris is one of my favorite plays. I think he's a great cash game play, great tournament play. Again, on saving money, I think Michael Conforto, he's batting 6 tonight. So I think he's a good Dodger play. Drex and Profar has been great too in those Brave stacks. We touched a little bit on Cody Clemens. So I think him and Trevor Larnach. Matt Wallner is batting 7th tonight, but it'll also keep his ownership down. He always has the upside to hit a home run too, so I don't mind him. And then, I mean, I think, again, you can play Miguel Andujar. You can play him in the outfield tonight. So I definitely like that. He is one of my favorite, just kind of one-off sneakier plays. And then you've got a lot of those Colorado guys too. You've got Jordan Beck, Mickey Moniak, some of those guys in the Rockies game that I think are great too. And, we've got them projected for hardly any ownership. So the more I think about it too, over on DraftKings especially, I think the Rockies are just a fantastic GPP play.
Okay. Carty, your thoughts there in the outfield?
Yeah, totally agree on the Rocky stuff. Bretton Doyle, Mickey Moniak. Doyle's probably my favorite, but Moniak, Beck, they're great. The Dodger stuff is obviously great. Teoscar and Pages on FanDuel, where you can play Ohtani, like he's obviously just the best play on the slate. Ronald Acuna, though, I think is kind of up there, especially on DraftKings where you don't have Ohtani. He's up there with the Coors guys. He's awesome tonight. Will probably come in lower owned than a guy like Teoscar will. So I like him quite a bit. Like some of that Minnesota stuff that Kristi mentioned, Larnach in particular, and Michael Harris obviously is still too cheap for how good he is.
Okay, very good. We want to make sure that people get some home runs. That is, that's what a lot of people come here for. Sometimes they want it for DFS. Sometimes they want it for, some betting. So, Kristi, I'm going to let you give me 3 names of 3 different tiers, people who are going yard tonight. Don't pick anyone in the Chicago game or I'm going to judge you.
Okay. So, at the top, I am going to go, I'm going to go with Hunter Goodman. He's expensive, but in that Coors game, kind of in that middle tier, there's a couple of guys that I really like. I've kind of highlighted them already, but I love Miguel Andujar tonight. I think he goes yard tonight. And then I am also going to throw in Cody Clemens on the Twins side. So those are 3 guys I really like to go yard tonight.
Very good. Carty, the people want your DFS thoughts and perhaps some sports betting thoughts as well, if the Bat X is picking up on any value.
Yeah, so I love the Goodman call from Kristi. He projects as one of the best chances today, and he's going to be pretty low owned, and he fills a crappy position. So I love Goodman. In the middle tier, Willy Adames, I like a lot for all the reasons I said before. In terms of cheaper guys, Doyle's not like cheap, but I like Doyle, so I'm going to say him. And then on the betting side, there is value right now on Evan Carter for Texas. You can get him around plus 1,400, plus 1,500, depending on the book, and I like him there.
Okay. I want to give the people a promo read. We still have 24 minutes here until we've hit lock. I want to give promo, a weather update. I'm going to see the future, which is my job, but also I'm going to see the future of what the team is going to do. And we'll talk about that. And then we'll have to figure out what we're going to do about it, I think, is kind of the next step there. But first, a lot of folks are well aware. Kristi, what sport's right around the corner?
Oh, can't wait. We got football coming.
It is.
We're ready.
Are we like 2 weeks away from NFL regular season? Does that sound right?
It does sound right. We are very close.
Yeah,
very
something
close.
like that. And that means that you can get some of the best deals in the industry right here with RotoGrinders and Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs, by the way, your home for season-long fantasy football and best ball content. Best ball, a lot of people into that. I haven't done it yet, but I want to. You can get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more from some award-winning experts. And Fantasy Labs now has an app that lets you get real-time rankings, draft cheat sheets, and lineup advice on the go. Sign up now for code RG15 for $15 off. And I feel like this is prime, like season-long draft season. Kristi, are you in any season-long stuff?
I am. I do have like 3 leagues that I'm in for season long. So, yep, it's pared way down. Yeah.
Is the draft started yet for those, or do you still have some?
I've done 1. I've got 2 coming up.
Okay, so this is crunch time.
Yes.
Make sure you're saving your money, signing up with the Fantasy Labs, getting you a winning lineup. A lot of questions coming in. We're going to get to those, but first we'll start with Ricky Rose. Ricky Rose says, "Hey Kevin, any new weather updates in Atlanta? Carty and Kristi just did not get the and that's okay. It's all right. Different genres, friends. Here's the deal. If they don't late start, you 100% cannot play a pitcher in Atlanta. Because of that, and because I think a delay, if they start on time, is basically imminent. I think they will late start. Is how I think this is going to end up. And if they late start and it's still dry, and that's what this is trending, I'm increasingly worried about what happens with bats. Because anytime there's a dry late start, now you're waiting just for the rain to start. Then you got to wait for the rain to clear. Then you got to pull the tarp. Then you got to get hitters out. I don't think you have to pull bats, but I do think it's a scenario where if you don't want any risk, and if you can just play literally any other game, and I think at this point, if you're 50-50 on a guy, pick something else. If you want to stack it, if you love it, that's fine. Stick with it. And if they don't late start, then we're all good. But I think in the next 20 minutes, we're probably going to see a late start announcement. And then I'm a little bit worried about bats. If we don't get that announcement, do not play pitchers and stick with bats. God, that's a lot. That's like a lot of if this, then that. But Kristi, does that all compute? Did that make sense to you?
It does. It does. So we're going to have to pay attention because there is some risk. And I think Waldrop is one of the guys, on the pitching side that, we certainly have interest in. So we're going to have to pay attention to see on this late start how it all shakes out. No, it does. And I like you said, if you're willing to kind of roll the dice a little bit on the bat side, play a stack. Don't just do a one-off, which I think there could be some one-off plays like Michael Harris tonight, Profar, Acuna and stuff. I would just stack it or not do it at all in tournaments. Yeah.
Hammer says, typical weatherman, not a straight answer. That was the straightest answer I can give you. If they say late start, then you're okay, likely to play pitchers. If they don't late start, don't play pitchers. That'd be really dumb. Yeah. You can play bats if they don't late start. That's where I'm at. You can even play bats.
Though, you are the best weatherman though that gives it straight how it is. You're right on it, Kevin. So
I'm trying. I'm trying my best. I'll tell you that, Kristi. Yep. We shall see. So let's see. Over the next 20 minutes, I think there's a decent chance that they announce a late start. If not, don't freaking play pitchers. Like, don't do it.
Yep.
It would be a poor choice. I really believe it would be a poor choice. And if we get 5 minutes or so out and they haven't announced it, we're going to hammer some under pitching outs props.
That's a great idea.
Do that yet, but I think that's the move. So we shall see. TJ talking trash about my skills on the court. That's a bad choice, bud. You don't talk trash about my weathermanning or my skills on the court. You're wrong in both ways. Okay, let's open it up to some QQs. Let's see what we've got going on in the Discord first. As always, I'm scrolling up. DK Cash question for you, Carty. Freeland Tovar or Jazz and Brooks Lee?
Freeland Tovar for me.
Okay, very good. DK Cash, Kristi, I'm kicking it your way from Achilles here. This is Freeman, not Freeland. Freeman, Jazz, or Lau, who the hell knows, and Acuna.
I really like Freeman tonight, so I think I'd go Freeman Jazz.
Okay. DK Cash, the positional player must-haves, and I'll kind of let you both chime in on this, Carty. If you think anything that comes out, go for it. Positional must-haves. So you're playing DK Cash, who are like 3 bats that you feel like these are locks.
Will Smith, Miguel Vargas, maybe Freddie Freeman.
Okay. Kristi, any other names that pop to mind when you think cash plays that are must-haves?
Yeah, Vargas is just so cheap at $3K that I do like that. I do think Freeman I think from a cash perspective too, you got to have Smith. I think Goodman is the pivot there. I do think you could throw a guy like Brooks Lee in there too. I don't mind him in cash for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. We'll see what else we've got going. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up for us. It is free content. You may have noticed you did not pay for this. Just pay in your like so we can keep the show free for as long as humanly possible. Let's see. Kristi, Ohtani and Spears in DK cash for pitchers. I'm under the impression pitching is tough tonight. Yeah, it is. Love y'all and thank you. You down with Ohtani and Spears and DK cash?
I am, and I think that'll probably be a popular play. So yes, I am.
It is crazy to see the shift that has happened, Kristi, in how many more people are asking cash questions at this point in the season.
It is to me, yeah, right.
I'm thinking maybe it's because like the real diehards are the only ones still hanging on 5 months into baseball, and they're also the type that play cash. I don't know, but just more cash questions coming. Carty, DK cash. If I've got money left, can I play Rasmussen or should I pay up on my value bats, Lee or Vargas?
I mean, you can play Rasmussen, but I don't think spending the extra salary really gets you anything. I mean, it's a tough matchup for him, and he's not cheap. And they probably won't let him, even if he's pitching well, like they won't let him go 100 pitches, I wouldn't think at this point. So I think just upgrade your value bets.
Okay, good answer. DK cash, Carty, right back to you. It's a 3v3. Kennedy, Tovar, Doyle, or Jazz, Brooks Lee, and Clemens.
First one for me.
Okay. I do plan on, by the way, sticking this out for the next 15 minutes so long as questions are coming in, because I don't want to leave and then they drop, a late start announcement, and then I'm not here to go over it. So as long as the questions keep coming in, I do plan on hanging out all the way up until first pitch. If that works. Kristi, Carty, you cool with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nope, I think that's great.
Yeah, I know. I'm hungry. I get it, but I feel like it is a must do. Let's see. Carty, are you on lefty Dodgers bats tonight, and who are your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on all the Dodgers bats tonight. Lefty, let me think. So Freeman, obviously. Trying to think who's a lefty. Hold on.
Conforto, he's batting 6th.
Yeah, Conforto I don't love as much as some of the other bats in the lineup tonight. So yeah, Ohtani on FanDuel where you can play him. Freeman for sure. Conforto's okay. And Freeland will be hitting from the left side, so I do like him too.
Okay. Very good. Let's see. Where did I go? Discord. Here we go. San Francisco mini stack on DK single entry, Kristi. San Fran mini stack, DK single entry.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think Carty, if I remembered right, you mentioned Adames too as kind of sneaky. Sears is going to be so popular that I do think that is an interesting play just because he is going to be one of the most popular pitchers. So for GPPs, absolutely.
Okay. Kristi, who is your FanDuel pitcher? Sorry, and thank you.
Yeah, I'm going with Sears tonight. He's my single entry pitcher.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see there. Kristi, coming right back to you for 3 in a row. Jake says Kurtz and Rooker or Freeman and Teoscar.
Gosh, I honestly love both of those. I would say, oh boy, and I've got exposure to both because they're probably 2 of my top stacks. I'd probably go the Dodgers side, for single entry, but for like tournaments and stuff, I like the athletic side. I think they're both great.
Very good. Eric says fading the Dodgers for the A's. Oh, Kristi, you're kind of
yeah, exactly. It's always a scary fade, but it's worked out, a bit too. So I don't mind that at all.
Yep. Just got in here. Any home run calls? You missed the home run calls by like 4 minutes. We may get back to those. Hammer says Kevin's not leaving till he's heaving. I need a t-shirt that says that. I like that, right? Hammer. Let's see. Carty, one team. Oh, I love this question. Fred says, Carty, one team that can match the Dodgers tonight. Let's say the Dodgers put up 11 runs like they did last night. What one team is going to match that?
I mean, every single team is a heavy underdog to get 11 runs, but theoretically, plenty of them could. Give me the Rockies as kind of my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, congratulations, producer Steve. It is his anniversary tonight, so he's not thrilled about having to stay until lock. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. John says, should I remove Acuna, Harris, Albies from cash due to weather? I don't think so. If they late start, then I think you can consider that. But for now, we haven't seen a late start. We're
11, what, 10 minutes? Yeah,
we're 11 minutes until first pitch. There's no sign of a late start. So I think it's unlikely that they start a game and don't. That almost never happens in baseball. When they start a game and then they're just like, all right, in the second inning, the rain came and then we're done. Like, if they start it, they're usually really patient about trying to finish it out. And the rain will clear tonight. So I think unless they late start, you stick with bats and you don't play pitchers. That's where I'm at. He was just saying, can we just go to Cheese? Because Cheese lives west and figure out what the weather was doing at his house 2 hours ago. We needed Cheese on the show. He would know. The evil Kevin Roth would have left us high and dry, but not the good one. That's right. Kristi, did you know I am the second most famous meteorologist, Kevin Roth?
No.
There is a meteorologist named Kevin Roth who works for the Weather Channel and is their lead meteorologist.
Seriously?
Yeah.
How did I miss this?
Yeah. It sucks. Yeah. Yeah. So like all the time, I think he retired now, but all the time, articles would come out and my family would like text me like, I saw you quoted in the Weather Channel.
Oh,
you made it.
Doing so well with your life.
They're like, no, that's the other guy. It's the other Kevin Roth.
What are the chances? Oh.
I know.
That's pretty nice.
I actually got to meet him. Really nice guy, but I punched him in the face anyways, just for stealing my shine. Let's see. Scrolling down. Yeah, I could do the weather name thing.
Right?
Ugh, I don't know. I hate that so much. Let's see. If they late start, can we play pitchers? Yeah, I think so. Sears, Kikuchi, Sears, or Waldrop is the question, Kristi. Kikuchi, Sears,
Just
or
one
Waldrop?
of those?
Yep.
I think I still say Sears. I do like Waldrop, and if we're kind of able to play him, I definitely in 20 entry max, I'd want a little bit of exposure because I do think, again, he's their top prospect, one of their top prospects, and he has good upside.
Okay, very good.
But I think Sears.
Okay. Kristi, Carty, Ricky Rose says, who is y'all's SP2 in a DK MME large field? So an off the board SP2. So I guess who your SP1 matters in this.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't think there's a clear SP1 tonight, but I'm assuming it's Sears he's going with, maybe. For me, give me it's so bad tonight. Give me Colin Ray.
Yeah. Okay. That's my favorite as well. Ray Sears is my favorite combo, although I know nothing other than the weather. DK single entry, Kristi, Ozuna, Acuna, or Pajes and Conforto.
I kind of like the Acuna Ozuna for tournaments. I do. Okay. Just because you don't have Ohtani over there and Acuna. Yeah, I like that.
Very good. Still no late start announced here in Atlanta. Ricky Rose. Yes. Being on the show with you two and just the gangster rap, it just is glorious. All right. Your favorite pitchers in a DK tournament. Kristi, give me your 4 favorite pitchers in a DK tournament.
Okay. Let's see here. I would say obviously Sears is one that I like. Sears. I'd still think I'd throw Ohtani in there just because I think it might work out. I'm going to throw Waldrop in there too. And then I do like the Colin Ray call just because he's cheap and allows you to get the bats in there.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Mab says that's Roth's warm-up song when he's in the layup line. That's right. And I'm smacking the backboard on my layups too. Get the white people dunk, smack that backboard. Any interest in a mini Yankee stack, Carty, and a DK GPP?
Yeah, they're certainly fine tonight. They're the Yankees. The matchup isn't particularly good. They're not particularly cheap, but they're still the Yankees. They project as one of, like a top 5 raw stack.
Okay. Could the experts, Carty, give us some thoughts as to why Luke Keyshaw is 4,600 on DK? I'm considering using 3, 4, 5 for Twins, but that's a whole lot of salary at second base.
What is the question there exactly?
Why is Luke Keyshaw 4,600 on DK?
He's actually pretty expensive over on FanDuel too. He's 3,300 over there too. So he's
a legit prospect. He's pretty
is.
good. I mean, that is kind of expensive, but it's also a crappy position. So that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Scrolling up. FanDuel util cash final bat, Kristi. Will Smith, Buxton, or Witt?
I think I'm still going Will Smith.
Okay. Musa says, Carty, Ohtani with 5 Rockies?
No, you can't do that. I'm assuming this is a DraftKings where he's a pitcher.
Oh,
we're not talking about because
right.
FanDuel you couldn't have 5 Rockies. Yeah, it's definitely a DraftKings question. No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
I was like, this sounds amazing, but I forgot they're pitching. No, they're not. That does not work. All right, let's see what else we got here. Still no word in Atlanta, so we're now 5 minutes until first pitch. We are increasingly convinced that they're going to start on time, and barring like the parting of the Red Sea, and that can happen, right? That storms can dance around an area, but I think we get a delay in the first hour of the game. And if you get a delay in the first hour of the game, you're not playing that pitcher, right, Kristi?
Correct. Exactly. So we got to stay away from the pitchers then. Yeah. Which does stink, but yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a delay in an hour in Atlanta.
Yeah. So don't play Waldrop.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's adorable. Life isn't all about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. That's like one of those terrible things that people have in their kitchen, like the little happy sayings. But it'll be a good one for a weatherman. So I may need to get that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Here we go. Give us the go. Sim3 says, can you give us the go ahead on smashing the under for out in the Braves White Sox game? It's sitting in my queue. Carty or Kristi, do you know what the line is? Like what?
Yeah, I literally just did it. Waldrop under 17.5. You can get like -125, -135, which projects decently even without the rain. So that one I love.
Like it.
Martin
awesome.
Perez is a 14.5 line, which isn't. I would not bet that if there was no rain, but I have faith in you, Roth.
14.5. That's not even through the fifth inning, though.
Right, exactly. So he cannot complete 5 innings.
Yeah. You probably don't have time for that. So that probably still works anyways. Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with that bet. I don't promise any bets, but I'm on board with that bet. Let's see what else we've got. Your favorite FanDuel GPP pitcher? I feel like you're playing the cheap guy. Was it Sears, Kristi?
That's who I'm playing. Yep. And like I said, I was interested in playing Waldrop before, not anymore. So yeah, for me, it's Sears.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we've got. We are 2-ish minutes until lock here. Did we do home run calls? We did. Your favorite, Kristi, your favorite Dodger bats in a DK tournament. Like, I don't want to play the same Dodgers that everyone will play. So should I play different Dodgers or pivot to the White Sox?
The one Dodger bat that I want to get in there over on DK again, of course, Ohtani over on FanDuel, but Freeman is the one bat that I want to get. But I like mixing. I think Freeland is a fine bat tonight too, to get just a little bit different. Pajes is always a little bit underowned. So those are a couple guys that I like.
Okay.
Besides Freeman.
Dean pointing out, and I was trying to do this math in my head, but I don't know enough about baseball, that Perez is also on the road. So he pitches a half inning later. So you have that kind of little extra cushion built in, which is nice there. Thoughts on Lord? I'm not sure if this is a religious question or if that's a baseball player. Carty, your thoughts on our Lord?
Brad Lord is a pitcher for the Nationals. I mean, on this slate, I'm not going to tell. Is he on this slate? What am I missing? Is he actually put? The Nats aren't on the slate, are they?
Oh,
I don't think they are.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll see what else we've got. DKG are bats okay in Atlanta? I think so. I think they're starting the game, so I would play bats. Yes, I would play bats in Atlanta. DKGPP last piece. Pajes or PCA, Kristi?
Pajes.
Okay. Very good. We are seconds away from lock. I would implore everyone to hit the thumbs up. Dean would like to know your thoughts on Lord the Singer. Big fan. She had one song that was really good. That's all I know. And we'll never be royals. You know? Anybody? No, just me.
Oh, I know the song.
Yeah. Oh, it's a banger. It's an absolute banger. Is it definitely raining in Atlanta? It's definitely not raining now, and there's a very good chance of it raining within the next hour. But I can't say definitely, but I like your chances. Make sure you hit the thumbs up for us on the way out. Hopefully you found the show to be wildly helpful, and we will get a delay in the third inning of that game, and you're going to just be so happy that you were tuning in. Certainly you got some great calls there from Kristi and Carty as well. So we're going to bounce on out of here. Producer Steve, enjoy your special night. So for Carty, for Kristi, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.